Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke me running really, really fast. Ginger ire on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Or you will get turned out. No, 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 no. Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes.
What is going on, Excuse me. Oh, can you not? No, you should be able to hear me. What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, I hope we're doing well. Excuse me. It is a Saturday, and we're doing our usual Saturday stream, but it's not just any Saturday. It is UFC 328 tonight. Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, or as I like to call him, the Chimpanzee. Obviously going to be rooting for Strickland, all right, our boy, our mans, all right, but we're going to see how this plays out. I am a little bit late. I think I missed the first fight. I have had a weird headache all day that has been bothering the hell out of me, and because of that, I wasn't sure if I was going to stream tonight, but within the last like 15-20 minutes, I started feeling better, and as a result, I am, oh shit, you know what, I just realized I forgot to do something. I'm actually going to have to get up, and I'm going to have to do something real quick that is going to help make sure this stream does not go off the rails. I need to plug in my Ethernet cable is what I have to do. So, I'll, you know what, I'll do that right now, but, I'll be right back. It won't even be 5 minutes. Okay. I apologize for that. What is going on, Barkoft? Hope you're doing well. What is going on? Anybody else who is here right now who will probably leave when I hit the BRB thing, but don't you worry. I will be right back. I promise. All right, I'm back. Hopefully everything did not go all fucked up and everything like that. But yeah, so I had to plug in my Ethernet cable to make sure that everything was all good. What is going on, Nuclear Snake? They just put Weidman in the Hall of Fame. Is that deserved or undeserved? I think it's deserved. You know, Chris Weidman was never one of those guys that I was that interested in. I always thought that it was kind of two flukes in a row that he beat Anderson Silva, but a win is a win is a win, you know. And I know this. I especially know this as somebody who, I had like a little bit of notoriety in the fish tank world. Because they could usually only find one video of me on the internet, and it's a video where I was absolutely fucking killing this guy until I got hurt in a freak accident. And because of that, I lost the fight. Now, on paper, I lost the fight, but also if you look at the video, I beat the hell out of the guy, right? um I look foolish every time I explain that. I know I look foolish and it's not really a good thing to do. I just can't fucking help myself. I just can't help myself, right? So like anyone who's going to sit there and do what basically I'm doing, saying, well, that was a fucking fluke. I mean, Anderson was fucking around and he got caught and then he broke his leg and like anyone who's going to do that is kind of a like they look foolish. They look stupid. So bottom line, I do think it's deserved. Chris Weidman was the top tier of the sport for a little while, even if I feel that middleweight kind of started to do that eventually. Oh geez, that was wrong with me. It I think it's deserved. I think it's deserved. You can disagree. Why do you think his career went downhill? I don't think Weidman's career went downhill. I think just the middleweight division went downhill. Did I say Weidman's career went downhill? I don't. That I must have misspoke if I said it that way. I don't actually think his career went downhill or anything like that. I think it's that the middleweight division was not as strong as it was in times past. There really was a golden age of MMA where most, if not all, of the divisions in the UFC specifically were like really, really strong. There was depth, and then eventually it just kind of like, I'm not saying all of them at the same time did, but you have points in time where like the middleweight division starts to suffer, light heavyweight starts to suffer, heavyweight starts to suffer. Heavyweight was never like amazing in the first place. But they're definitely like compare say like 2007 heavyweight, 2008 or even '09 heavyweight versus 2026 heavyweight. Like no contest. It's no contest between the two. And I think it just says a lot considering what has happened to the heavyweight division, because heavyweight was never that deep in the first place. It was usually one guy who was the king of the mountain, Excuse me. So we have Joaquin Buckley versus what's his face, Sean Brady. I don't hate Joaquin Buckley, but he's kind of a there's something about him. There's something about him that I'm just like about. By the way, what's going on? Andrew Meneses, hope you're doing well. What's up, Scott? Doing anything special tomorrow? Yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with my I almost said my wife, my mom a little bit. Yeah, I went around to some antique shops thinking, hey, maybe I'll find something that will be like nice for her for Mother's Day. Because even though I talk a lot of shit about my mom and stuff like that, but like it's not that I don't love her, it's that I wish that things went differently, and I wish she would just take responsibility for the things that she did that were like not cool, that led to me being in a rough spot later in life. That's what I want. And then also, if she could help me in some way, if she had the ability to, I would appreciate that. That's all I want from my mom. But I do love her. I love her, and I want to have a relationship with her. And because of that, like when Mother's Day comes around, yeah, like I will get her something. It just sucks because I went to a couple of antique shops today and they didn't have fucking anything that would have been good to get her. So I was like, all right, whatever. I guess I'm going with old reliable, a Dunks gift card. I'm gonna get her a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. And yeah, so that's we're just gonna be hanging out tomorrow. But we have Joaquin Buckley versus Sean Brady. We have Joaquin Buckley coming out, very high energy, very very wide stance, kind of almost bending over a little bit. He's got to be very careful of that because depending on how things go, especially as the fight goes on, you're gonna see head kicks become an option when somebody's like kind of crouching or leaning forward like that. There's a cross up the middle from Buckley, followed by a jab cross head kick that does not land. None of those landed. Buckley's a very powerful guy, Oh, excuse me. Buckley's a very powerful guy. He's got that one punch knockout power. So Sean Brady's got to be careful. There's a gazelle punch which lands from Sean Brady into the clinch, and he being Buckley, able to get out of there. Sean shoots in for the single leg. See, Sean Brady's not rushing right now, so I'm not concerned about the fact that did not work, that neither of those worked for him. But I think he's got to be careful trying a little too hard, You want that takedown a little bit too much, and you might end up ducking into something that just Buckley ended up throwing, which was a fucking soccer kick up the middle. That was not a teep. That was basically he threw a fucking like he was punting a football is what he just threw up the middle. And that would be the worst thing for someone like Sean Brady to duck into, I will say Brady's doing a good job when he does shoot in those two times. He threw punches to keep Buckley tall and busy, and then he shot in for the takedown, Oh, hey, there's a kick from Buckley caught by Brady, and there is the takedown into the half guard position up against the cage. And we're going to see if Buckley can get up or if Brady is going to utilize this to his advantage. Right now, Brady had an underhook on using his left hand, but he decided to give that up for shoulder pressure instead. He is now also moving Buckley so that he is against the cage so that he has no way to go. He has nowhere to go. You see, when you're trying to get out from underneath someone, you need the space to be able to do that. It's not like you're just going to bench press somebody off you. And because of that, you need space to be able to move, right? And that is how people will use the cage, such as right now with Sean Brady. He took him down against the cage, and then he moved him into a position so that Buckley really had no place to go. And we have what looks like the mount position for Sean Brady, trying to airplane a little bit. Yes, we have the mount position with grapevines in, and that is not good for Joaquin Buckley. He is a sitting duck there. This fight, nothing too crazy happening right now. Buckley is taking shots, but this fight will end if Buckley does not get out. Buckley is trying to get to his side. He's trying to stand up. It's not quite working out for him. He has the half guard again. He's taking shots on the way out, and Sean Brady takes the mount position again. Again, keeping Joaquin Buckley up against that cage to make sure that he can't use any kind of shrimp or anything like that. Buckley off the cage now, but he's still in that mount position. See, the thing is, Buckley's not taking a ton of damage. A lot of these punches are not landing, and the ones that do are, I think he's got a Kimura. I think he's going for a Kimura in the half guard right now. Looks like, yes, he was trying to line up a Kimura or an Americana. He still is in that position. Joe Rogan says he's trying to line up a guillotine. I don't see that happening from there. Yep. We have the Kimura that they're trying to work on, but what he has to do, Buckley right now has his arm in here, and he's probably grabbing his own shorts, which I believe is actually allowed. What Brady needs to do is he needs to yank that arm out here in order to get the Kimura finished. But the thing is, Joaquin Buckley is a strong dude. Okay. Okay, he's trying to finish it from north-south, which is a very valid way to try and finish a Kimura. But I don't think he has it anymore. He takes the north-south position and goes back to a side control. Joaquin Buckley just kind of trying to survive, just trying to not get submitted. You see Sean Brady trying to go for an Americana. You see, an Americana is this, right? When somebody puts your arm in this position and then starts bending it. A Kimura is kind of the opposite. You put the arm in this position and you bend it that way. An Americana actually, it gets its name from catch wrestling. It gets its name from collegiate wrestling. Or I don't know if it was collegiate or catch. Collegiate wrestling is based off of catch wrestling, and collegiate used to actually include certain submissions like arm locks. But the Gracies learned the Americana from a catch wrestling champion in, like, I think it was like the 20s or 30s or something like that. They met a dude from America who like did a ton of Americanas on people. Anyway, get her some flowers. I mean, yeah, I guess that'd be cool. But my mom's kind of like me. Well, actually, that's a lie. I do like certain things that are like kind of stupid. Like I like boxes, right? Like I'll show you some of the boxes I got while we're in this while we're in this inter period between round 1 and 2. Like I got a thing for boxes. I just like boxes. I like keeping stuff in boxes. Obviously, right? What else are you gonna do with a box? But like I like them. I like them. It's autistic, I know. Oh, a head kick right out the gate from Sean Brady, followed by a spinning back fist after it does not land. Buckley tried to throw a right hook that did not land. Man, see, Prime Video doesn't want to work, so I have to go through the other totally legal means that I have to watch this. So it's a little bit weird. I'm probably a little bit behind anybody who's watching me right now. And Sean Brady has the back standing, and he breaks Joaquin Buckley down. We're gonna see. Oh, Buckley tries to roll out of that, but we have a side control from Sean Brady right now. Oh. Oh. Joaquin Buckley, like, I don't mind seeing him fight, but he's one of those guys who like like I saw him a while ago. He was trying to police the use of the N word, and it's like, look, I'm not Chud the Builder over here, okay? I'm not one of those guys who's like I say the N word all the time. Oh man, like I think it's beneath me to try to be as inflammatory as I can just for the sake of it. And you see Sean Brady just gave up side control to go into half guard, and I feel like it might have been on purpose. It might have been an accident, but it might have been on purpose. And I like side control is actually a much easier place to get out of than even a half guard, is the funny thing. So you'll see guys give up what is technically considered to be a dominant position for a less dominant position. And speaking of more dominant positions, we have the mount position again with Sean Brady in the airplane, which the airplane is basically when you take your chest and you go right down on top of the other person's head as a means to control them. But yeah, like anybody, but especially black people who are like, "Hey, yo, if I see you saying that, I'ma beat your monkey ass. I'ma beat your white ass." Like anytime. Wow, Buckley just kind of stuck trying to wriggle out, and it actually works a little bit. But Sean Brady is right in on the double leg. Joaquin Buckley trying his best. He gets back. He got back up. He's trying his best to land something big right now. But Sean Brady is just like a wet blanket. Joaquin throws a knee up the middle. Joaquin's got to keep him at a range where he can throw punches. He can't throw knees. He can't throw kicks. He has to throw punches. That's it. He has to try to stop the shot. He has to sprawl. He can't be overly offensive, which that actually is not going to suit him as this fight goes on and on and on, because he's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive to try and make something happen for himself. The more he's going to need a knockout. But It's just Buckley making some bad decisions here. I think he was excited that he actually got out of that mount position and he put himself right back in it, except in a worse situation because right now, like I said, uh, we have Buckley's head up against the cage. You know, Buckley has the tools physically, but he's too erratic and all over the place. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, nuclear snake, for sure. You know, um, Joe Rogan says Donkey Kong in him. Yeah, he's literally just beating the bongos, beating the bongos. Buckley's so desperate, he's just like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna start throwing punches from the bottom. You know, which I mean, I guess it's better than nothing. You know, but he does have to be careful. You know, um, but yeah, like anytime someone's anytime someone is gonna sit there and try and act like they're gonna be hard over like the use of a word like that, I just automatically am like, okay, if I ever get the chance, I'm gonna fucking beat the hell out of this guy. And I know that's Joaquin Buckley that I'm talking about, right? So it's like, okay, you know, that's not quite an easy thing, but it's like it speaks to the adversarial sort of like you're telling me I can't do something and you're trying to say that you're gonna hurt me if I do. All right, well I guess I have to do that thing now. I'm not the bitch you think I am, you know. I'm not gonna be intimidated by you. I don't care who you are, you know. Even if you kick my ass, I'm gonna land something on you. I'm gonna have some kind of vindication here. I'm gonna have some kind of satisfaction, you know. Um, and I'll leave it there. I could say more about what I could do, but I'll leave it there. You know, um, but yeah, Joaquin Buckley, finishes this round on his back. He absolutely needs a knockout, which, like I said, is really bad for him because he doesn't seem to know how to do that. He doesn't seem to know how to fight somebody who just wants to take him down. He doesn't even seem there's a little bit of heavy breathing there, but he doesn't seem broken. He doesn't seem like he's fucked up or anything like that. He just you can tell he's just kind of like, man, what the fuck, you know? He needs a knockout though. There's no question about that. I think Sean Brady just needs to do more of the same. He could even take this round off. Truthfully, there's no question that he is going to win this fight, even if he loses this round. Buckley needs a KO. Bottom line, that's where it ends. And what he's got to do is he's got to keep Sean at the end of his punches, and he's got to keep Sean chasing him, right? Just like if you watch Canelo Crawford, what Crawford did really well was he kept Canelo chasing him. You can do the same thing with grapplers. You can do the same thing with dudes that are submission specialists or just grappling specialists, if you will, right? You can make them miss their takedown attempts, But Buckley cannot throw kicks, he cannot throw knees, and he has to be very careful about going forward because he will, especially the way he throws his punches. Somebody said very wild or erratic or something. Yes, erratic, and all over the place. Up and you see, that was good. That was good. Sean Brady shoots in for the takedown. Buckley stops it. Now, we have double leg against the cage, and Buckley is back on his ass. Yep. With a little bit over 4 minutes in this fight. You see, the thing about Buckley is he seems like he's got decent cardio right now. So if he is explosive and he makes the right choice at the right time, he might be able to find his way out of this situation and we might have a fight on our hands, I won't even say this is like a boring fight or anything like that. Truthfully, there's been just enough action on the ground. There's been just enough movement and just enough damage done that I'm not like upset about this right now, I don't hate grappling. I mean, I'm a fucking black belt in jiu-jitsu, dude. I have almost 20 years of experience in grappling between wrestling in high school and then jiu-jitsu after. I would not do it if I didn't love it, but like there is something to be said about when you have dudes that take dudes down and they just hold control positions forever and ever, and then they throw 2, 3 shots and then back to the control position, and there's no actual attempt to do what Sean Brady just did right there, which is improve position, and then Buckley just put him back into the half guard. There's actual movement, there's actual changing stuff going on, and I can appreciate that. You didn't say his career went downhill. I was asking generally because his fall seemed a lot worse than most. I would assume you were talking Nuclear Snake. You were talking about Chris Weidman. I don't. I didn't pay enough attention to Chris Weidman to know if and when his career went downhill, but I do know he broke his leg in the same way that Anderson Silva did. If I had to guess, I'd say that was probably it. Yo, Scott, you seen clips of that Dubois Wardley fight? Insane back and forth for heavyweights? No, I did not see that. I'll have to check that out at some point, though. Thank you for letting me know about that. Somebody asked, "Oh, Scott, where did these moves get their names from? Who was Mister Kamura? It's Kimura, Kimura, and it's actually a Japanese judoka, a dude who did judo from Japan, who he utilized that arm lock. They just called it a double wrist lock, right? Except in Japanese, a double wrist raku. But they call it a double wrist lock, right? But the thing is, Kimura fought one of the Gracies. It might have been Hoist, but I could be wrong. And he broke Hoist's shoulder, right? He dislocated his shoulder, or he broke something with that wrist lock. So because of that, they started calling it the Kimura. That's where that one gets its name. A lot of these things are not like they're not. There's nothing new under the sun. Like anybody who says they invented something, I don't fucking believe them. A lot of the time, these are things that have been being done for hundreds or even thousands of years. Even if they're not common and somebody starts doing it and it becomes common, there's a almost 100% chance that somebody before them started doing that first. But like when it comes to the Kimura, the Americana, things like that, they had other names. Like the Americana, they call the key lock, I believe it was, in catch wrestling. These are things that other people did for years and years and years and years and years. It's just that the Brazilians, the Gracies specifically, they started naming certain moves after certain people and certain things and stuff like that. And since jiu-jitsu is the grappling art that exploded in popularity, that's just kind of how we know them, as in like a colloquial way, Excuse me. So not a whole lot happened. It was just kind of the same. The last like 3 or so minutes, I kind of ignored the fight, but that's it wasn't a boring fight. It wasn't a boring fight. I just feel bad when I don't talk to the when I don't talk to you guys. Like the new house, yeah, this is actually my parents' house. There was a situation with my landlady. Nothing like bad. She just decided she wanted to sell the condo that we were renting from her. Um, we knew it was going to happen. It wasn't like all right, I'm selling it, get out thing. We had our actually we had more than 30 days notice. Not like quite 60, but it was like 40, 45 days. We just couldn't find a place in time, so we had to move into my parents' house for a month. My wife is out in the living room right now. I was like, I'm streaming, get the fuck out. This is my childhood bedroom. Actually, it's not quite as big as some of the other bedrooms I've had, and plus, the camera's facing there, or else my wife would just be chilling on the bed right now. Um, but yeah. So there's that. We have a new place lined up that we're going to be going to next month. It's just we needed the time to actually iron that out and everything like that. So works out. Jeez. They're gonna rob Buckley, dude. They're gonna rob Buckley. It's gonna be racism. Fun fact: Scott Sullivan introduced jiu-jitsu to the Gracie clan. I did. I called it Scott Fu, and they were like, "Oh, nice. I will do this too. I will do this too." It looks like you are having the sex with another man. I like this. I like this. Sorry, just looking around. Annoying because Sean Brady is boring. Sean Brady got TKO'd by Bilal. Oof. You know, man. Nah, I mean, I haven't watched a ton of Sean Brady. In fact, this is probably the first fight of his that I've seen. I didn't hate that fight, but if I own maybe it's because it's Joaquin Buckley. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's because it's Joaquin Buckley, and like I said, I have a bit of an axe to grind against the guy. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. But I don't know. Oh, excuse me. You see, I forget who it was. I think it was Pat Miletich, right? He talked about how MMA striking has evolved, right? MMA striking used to just be like Muay Thai and boxing. That's the way that people kind of like thought of it. You had dudes that were like, they were more along the boxing lines. You had dudes that were more along the like Muay Thai lines and stuff like that. And again, I believe it was Miletich who was saying that if you want good striking in MMA in the modern era, what you need is basically like 80 to 90% boxing, 10% kicks, and you have to be very careful about who you're kicking and when you're kicking them, because if you have somebody who is a grappling specialist, if you have someone who is a grappler like Sean Brady, they're going to wait for one of those kicks to come in, especially if it's a hard kick, a slower, harder kick like what's-his-face Buckley is known to throw. He's going to catch those kicks, and he's going to take you down. That's part of the reason why that's part of the reason why you see calf kicks. That's part of the reason why you see kicks that dudes are not turning all the way over on. They're throwing more snappy kicks nowadays. It's because those are harder to catch. It's harder to take somebody down off of those things. They're lower, so you have to bend over to try and get them, and that's not even worth it. Don't try and catch a calf kick. That's a bad idea, But then on top of that, you're also like trying to catch something that is like noticeably, visibly much quicker, Boring doesn't mean bad, though. I would never call John Fitch and Jake Shields bad fighters, but definitely boring. Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, like, boring is bad in that it's not fun to watch. Like, Jake Shields is obviously a very talented fighter, but yeah, like a lot of his fights were a little bit boring. A little bit boring, if we're just being honest here, So hey, it is what it is, What you gonna do? Boring is boring. Hey, that is what it is, Man, I'm so disappointed about that. I'm so disappointed about that White House card, man. I talked about it briefly on PKA. Like, and I talk about it here at least once a week. Like, when you see cards in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, you see Muslim fighters versus non-Muslim fighters, and the non-Muslim fighters have like spina bifida, right? You see Abdul Map, the murderer, Goat Fuckerdov, versus Joe, the fucking nerd, bitchington, like that's who you see. That's who you see. It's dudes that are specifically designed to play to the Saudi Arabian crowd, or the Emirati crowd, or whoever it is, right? The Muslim crowd. They are specifically designed to play to that crowd to make them and their money happy. In Sorry, I know what I'm saying, and you guys get what I'm saying. I just completely fucking blanked on exactly what I was going to say next. What I'm saying is, like, they purposefully stack cards in the Middle East to make the Muslim crowd and the Muslim money, the Muslim oil magnates, they want to make them happy. So they stack the cards with dudes that are fucking murderers versus dudes that are specifically designated to lose against those guys. You go to Mexico, they do the same fucking thing. A lot of the time, it's Mexican dudes versus American dudes. American dudes who are designed to lose to the Mexican dudes. That's a funny one. You see anywhere, China, same thing. They love doing that. It's so fun for them to do that. But when it comes to America 250, not even just a random card in America. No, this is Freedom 250. Even the belts that they're going to give to the winners of the championship fights are going to have the American flag on them. And it's a bunch of non-American dudes, some of which are fighting American dudes who are, again, supposed to lose to them. We all know what that is. Ilya Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. It's wolf tickets. It's wolf tickets, you know? We have a Russian Paddy Pimblett versus Dominican dude. Waldo Cortez Acosta is who we got. But it's frustrating to see that, you know, and it's a slap in the face. And I want to say that if it was just Dana at the helm, it wouldn't have happened that way. But also, I got to be honest with you, I don't know, because I don't think Dana fucking cares about anything. I don't think Dana gives a fuck about anything, you know. It's TKO Holdings right now that are doing a lot of this shit, but even if Dana was like the guy who was truly calling the shots, if it wasn't just a boardroom full of dickheads, I don't think Dana would have done much better, if I'm just being completely honest. You know, there's no reason someone like Colby Covington, even Jorge Masvidal, like, they should have brought them in for that, you know. Oh, excuse me. They could have had Covington versus Masvidal 2, I believe it was, you know. It's a shame. It's a fucking shame, you know, and they should be ashamed of themselves, but they're not, because, and this is something that I talked about recently on Twitter, like, nihilism in the form of a bunch of different things has brought upon the condition in the United States and the world, but especially the United States, where the only thing that matters is money. That is it. It doesn't matter what somebody's doing. If they make more money than you, you're not allowed to criticize them. It doesn't matter about the soul. It doesn't matter the spirit. The spirit of what is happening. No, 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 no. They're making money, but they're making money, though. They're making more money than you, buddy. They're laughing all the way to the bank, in fact. And it is disgusting, and that's why so many things just suck nowadays. That's why so many people suck, you know? It's just, it's not fun, man. You know, it's not fun living in a world, being a sensitive young unk, being a sensitive young Norwood 5 in a world full of nihilistic losers, people who, because they're getting paid to sell their souls, they don't realize that they're soulless losers, you know? It's like, fucking A, dude. It's terrible. Ah, boha. Scott, can you explain why people on their backs can't kick up? How's that any different than uppercuts? The person up top should know it's coming. I mean, there's really no way that somebody on their back is gonna kick upwards on someone who's on top of them. You have up kicks. Actually, no. You can do that depending on the situation. Like, if you're in guard, you can kick somebody who is on the ground in the guard with you, right? The thing is, that's not allowed in the UFC. That's not allowed in most MMA rule sets. I disagree with that. I think it should be allowed, but it's not. Um, so that's why it doesn't get done a lot of the time. Um, what's your opinion on Israel? Um, I think the Holy Land belongs to Christ and his flock. Um, like my personal opinion on Israel is not that important. I don't think everybody needs to give their opinion on like what's going on in the world today, but overall, I wouldn't say that I support either side of that fight. And my heart is with the Christians in Palestine, um, as well as any non-combatants, regardless of what side they're on. I think that is awful whenever anybody has to die, but particularly non-combatants. I'm it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, Best up kick I've ever seen is when Benson Henderson did it to Frankie Edgar. I don't think I ever saw that. I think the best one I've ever seen was actually an illegal one. It was Anderson Silva in some off-brand, like some random promotion that he fought in at some point. Oh, excuse me. You can just look up Anderson Silva up kick knockout, and I'm sure it'll pop up. It's a really cool KO. It's a really cool KO. Um, Fighting on the White House lawn is literally something out of Street Fighter or Tekken. Exactly, and they fucking wasted it on the card that they got. They should have given Ronda Rousey whatever they needed to give her to get her to fight on that card. They should have given anybody anything that they needed to get them to fight on that card. This should not have been about the money. But unfortunately it always is with somebody like Dana White, Dana White, I don't think has ever really been that good for the sport of mixed martial arts. People try to revise Dana White and try to act like he's like the best guy ever for the sport. No, I think he has always just been a shrewd businessman in a world where a lot of the other guys who were in the business were doing it for the love of it. And because of that, he was able to box a lot of people out of the market, and that's why the UFC is so prolific in a way that it frankly doesn't really even deserve. A lot there, especially from say like 2007 or 8 all the way to like 2017, maybe even 2020, depending on how you stretch it out. Most of the stars in the UFC were guys from WEC, Strikeforce, Pride, and Affliction. These are organizations that Dana White shitted all over and said they were bullshit and they don't even have good fights or good fighters, and then he takes them over. He absorbs them into the UFC after some hostile takeover bullshit, and then he's taking their fighters who made names for themselves that people knew and love, and he's trying to act like they're homegrown talent, been here since 1994 or 3. I forget whether it was 3 or 4. 1993 or 4 that the UFC started, but you get the point I'm making. It's disgusting. Dana White actively worked against Scott so his bombastic personality wouldn't take over the UFC. I have proof. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I got boxed out of the industry by Dana White. Oh man. Do you think Netflix might present any actual challenge to the UFC? They've got crazy money. Maybe they could sweep the big names. If they are going to present a challenge, it's not going to be right now. It's not going to be a tomorrow kind of thing. It's going to be in the next 3 to 5 years. They might have an opportunity to get into the MMA promoting game, and they might have an opportunity to I don't think they're going to take anybody necessarily from the UFC other than aggrieved people that Dana will probably decide he doesn't even want to deal with anyway, because that's the kind of power Dana has, is he can just, like, it doesn't matter who you are. He can be like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to deal with you, you know, unless your name is Conor McGregor, you know. But someone like, say, like Tom Aspinall, like in the next 3 to 5 years, yeah, they could probably, snag him. I'm trying to think if there's any other names, but like overall, I think what could potentially happen is they could start looking at the regional circuit. They could look at the regional scene and start trying to snag prospects. And if they are able to do that, then that will present an existential threat to the UFC, because the UFC is not they are not who they are because they just like just because. They are who they are because they have been able to convince everybody that the upper echelon of the sport, the tippity top, has been owned by them, owned and operated by them. You know, if Netflix has the money and they're willing to spend it, they can take these top prospects away from the UFC before they ever enter the UFC, and they can have a claim to legitimacy that the UFC has had for years. And the UFC, what they like to do when they see talent outside of their control is they like to try and downplay it and write it all off. But the thing is, if Netflix gets enough of that, of that talent, no amount of Dana being like, shut up, you dummy, I smacked my wife. Like, no amount of him saying shit like that is going to actually force them to like kowtow. It's not going to work, you know? People aren't going to be convinced. All right, so we got Volkov versus Cortez Acosta. I don't know if I'm going to call him Cortez or Acosta, but I'm going to call him one of those things. It'll probably be both. Got some lead leg kicks by Volkov, followed by a lead leg kick from Acosta, but then we got some rear kicks from Volkov. And you see what I'm talking about with those kicks, the way he's throwing them. He's not throwing them with 100% conviction, because even though I'm sure Acosta is probably not known for his ability to take people down, you don't want to take that chance, especially not at heavyweight. You don't want a fucking 260-pound dude laying on top of you. That fucking sucks. That shit sucks. Trust me. I'm 250 right now. That shit sucks when you get somebody that heavy on top of you. That's no fun. So mostly just trading kicks right now. I think they're both kind of nervous about trying to throw punches. Oh, hey, there's a teep attempt that almost gets caught by Volkov. Volkov threw the teep. They're both a little bit nervous about throwing punches right now. There's a jab from Acosta, though. I think Volkov needs to use his jab. He needs to pump a jab out there. You know, it can't be lazy, though. He can't get it to be lazy, because right now he's letting Acosta just kind of walk in on him. Like there was a point or two where Acosta was like in range to drop a bomb on him, and he just didn't. You know, and I think it's because they're heavyweights. They know, okay, this guy hits me, it's going to hurt. I would give anything I have in this world for Scott to lay on top of me for 10 minutes. You don't got to give anything for that. You don't got to give anything for that, Hi Ecuador. I got to, I'll do it for free. Again, like, Volkov just kind of letting Acosta throw, you see Acosta is throwing. What I meant to say was he's letting Acosta walk into a range where he can throw. And sure enough, he almost landed 3 or 4 big shots because Volkov is not using his hands. Oh, there's a left hook that I believe landed from Acosta. But Volkov is not using his jab. He needs to use his jab. He needs to have 2, 3, maybe even 4 of those on his horse, moving away. The kicks are nice, you know, like, don't get me wrong. If you can land those kicks and soften up that lead leg, go for it. That's a good thing. But like right now, you can see Acosta inching his way in, and it's not good. It's not good. That makes me nervous. I'd rather see Volkov win for no reason. One thing I am curious about is if Volkov is going to go up high eventually, though, because you see the hands of Acosta are pretty low. Those hands are pretty low. Eventually, I'm wondering if eventually Volkov is going to go up high with that lead leg specifically, because that lead leg, he's using it in a couple of different heights. He's going inner leg, he's going to the body. I'm wondering if and when that's going to happen. One thing I will give you, see, and there's one right there. He did it to the body. Fakes across from Volkov. Oh, there's a jab from Acosta that does land. Ooh, there was a teep attempt from Volkov. Gets caught by Acosta. Ooh, ooh. There was a left hook that, like, I can't tell if it landed and slipped off or if it just barely missed, but it came close regardless. And then there was a right hand that looks like it did land as well. And again, this is because Volkov is just kind of sitting in front of him. Like, I like the kicks I was talking about. I'll give them credit because a lot of dudes, they have low kick strategies. There's a left hand from Acosta that does land on Volkov. A lot of the time when dudes have low kick strategies, you see, Acosta cannot be allowed to throw for free. He's being allowed to walk in and throw hands for free. There's no punishment for Acosta walking in and just trying to drop bombs right now. You see, there was that high kick that I was talking about that I was wondering if it would come at some point. It looked like he was more testing what would happen. But Volkov needs that jab. I don't think I've seen a single jab from him this entire round. I could be wrong, but that's how few of them I've seen. You would think with how few of them that he's thrown, I would remember the one or two that he'd throw. But excuse me. I was saying I'll give Volkov credit. A lot of the time when dudes have low kick strategies, excuse me. Excuse me. A lot of the time when guys have low kick strategies, they tend to abandon them. They get into the cage, they land a couple, they start feeling good about themselves, and then they start unloading with the hands. And because of that, that strategy doesn't really work. You would see a lot more kick knockouts, whether it's head kicks or if it's low kicks or if it's liver kicks or anything like that. You would see a lot more of those if people would stick with them. So, I kind of like to see that Volkov's sticking with them. I just want to see him do a little bit more damage with them, And like I said, I need to see that jab from him. If I was his corner, I'd be like, yo, there's an overhand from Acosta. Again, that jab. There's a jab. There's a jab. There's another jab. And there was a elbow that almost landed on Volkov. You see, Volkov's throwing that jab, but honestly, it's kind of like a weird lumbering jab. I don't know if that's just I don't know if that's just the way he goes. I don't know if he just doesn't really have good hands like that. But like one of the most important skills that you can have, regardless. Oh, there is a cross down the middle, timed off of a low kick, a lead leg low kick from Volkov. That was beautifully timed by Acosta. But it doesn't matter whether it's MMA, boxing, kickboxing, etc. The most important thing you can learn how to do is have a not just effective but a robust jab. A jab that you can throw many different ways in many different situations, you know? And what Volkov needs is to be able to pump his jab out there, throw 2 or 3 at the same time that he's moving back to try and disrupt the rhythm of Acosta, because Acosta is just marching in uncontested right now, dropping whatever kinds of bombs he can on Volkov. And it hasn't worked so far, but you know what? It doesn't look very good, right? The judges might see that and think, oh, I think Acosta might be winning. But then in addition to that, you see okay, that was nice. You see, he came up top with that lead leg kick, which is exactly what I said he might be trying to set up, and it missed. And then he came with a jab cross and a hook, and then he came with another lead leg kick to the body. I do find that to be interesting, you know. Um, but yeah, like it's not good what Volkov is allowing to happen right now. You know, he needs to I want to see a little bit more activity, and I want to see him landing more punches, you know, or at least throwing more punches to make it so that Acosta cannot work his way in, because right now he's throwing 1, maybe 2 strikes. That's all he's doing. And if you're throwing only 1 shot, it's real easy for the smaller guy to follow that shot back in and then try and throw, you know? There was a left hook. Okay. Volkov hurt Waldo. Where's Waldo? Okay. I'd say Acosta's fine now, but he did get wobbled a second ago, you know? As a jab. See, I will say that when Volkov does land, it looks like he's landing sharp, you know? Like it looks like when he lands, he's landing square and it probably hurts. I just want to see more. I just want to see a little bit more output, you know, because right now I don't know if he's winning. I don't know if he's winning right now. You know, the judges could score this either way. Like it depends on what you think is more important. Do you think the consistent kicks are more important, or do you think that the damage that you can see, head kick landed. You can tell Waldo is, fucking Waldo Cortez Acosta. You could tell he didn't like that. You know, he backed off. He tried to make it like he was just, fine and taking a second to back off and, recompose himself. But I think that probably hurt him quite a bit. There was a nice low kick from Acosta. Oh, and that's exactly what I was saying was probably going to happen. Was you were going to see Volkov go up high with those kicks after a round and a half of throwing leg kick, body kick, leg kick, body kick, you know? Yeah, that was a jab that hurt Acosta too. Man. Yeah. Acosta is very lucky that Volkov was throwing a snappy kick to the head. If he followed through with that kick, Acosta would have been waking up looking at the ceiling, you know? He is very lucky, especially the place that landed. That landed behind the ear. Fucking forget about it. He would have been lights out. Sorry, I'm looking at some shit. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's winning. You know, it's it's gonna be a tough one to. It's gonna be a tough one for me to call because, like, truthfully, it's like I said, like, what do you think is more important? You know, I do think those moments where Volkov hurt Acosta, I do think those matter. And I do think those might play into giving Volkov round two. I don't think Acosta landed anything serious. Um, he's just got to make sure he doesn't get caught. You know, talking about Volkov, which do you think is better at the moment, UFC or one championship? Uh huh. This jab cross up the middle, followed by another jab from Acosta. Anyway, UFC or one championship. I got to be honest with you. I don't watch one championship, so I couldn't really make a judgment call there. One championship, I feel like, is kind of like the jujitsu hipster, um, like MMA promotion. I'm sure there's aspects of it that are really fucking cool, you know. Um, but like, you know, I just don't watch it. I just don't watch it. Ooh, we have a bit of a slugfest going on here right now. There's a jab from Volkov. Yeah, be fucking kidding me, dude. There we go. My totally legit legal stream, that I had to go to because the uh Amazon Prime stream, the Prime Video stream didn't want to work. The Paramount Plus stream didn't want to work. Um, it froze for a second. One championship is losing money, isn't it? Yeah, that's been a perennial problem of theirs, is that they've never been able to, like, really get their shit, you know? Somebody asked if I was a goy. I mean, dude, you tell me. My last name is Sullivan, after all. What's going on? What's going on? Zafir Odiamante. How you doing today? Oh, there's a much harder high kick. Ooh. Much harder high kick by Volkov that is deflected by Acosta, and then he throws an overhand and a left hook that end up also deflected. Oh, Your Volkov's corner calf kick. Oh, a takedown attempt from Acosta is denied by Volkov, and right now turns him around and walking towards the cage. He is able to get him in there. We're going to see what happens here. And, ooh, there is a reversal attempt followed by a knee on the break from Acosta. Yeah, you can tell Volkov's kind of limping along right now, And I mean, that's because he's been taking damage, like real damage this whole time. You can see blood on his face. You've been able to see blood on his face since round two. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about, is like, yo, like, you gotta, like, if you're not gonna have more output, you have to be smart about the output that you do utilize. You gotta get a robust jab. It's that simple. If you say calf kick in the mirror 3 times, Joe Rogan appears. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He he appears in the mirror and he steps out of it like it's a portal. Whoa, a big swing and a miss by Acosta. There's another high kick attempt by Volkov. There's a nice teep to what looked like the hip. Ooh, a fake kick followed by a jab cross. Not bad. I think the jab landed. I don't think the cross did. Talking about Volkov. Volkov lands a kick, rear kick. Acosta coming forward. You know, throwing ham hocks. Ooh, more ham hocks. You know, he's dropping his head and he's throwing overhands. You know, is what's happening, and they're not really working out for him. But the thing is, if one of those lands as we approach 5 seconds left in this fight, we are going to see if he can make one land. And that is the end of the fight. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know who it's going to go to. I have no clue who it's going to go to, you know. You know, I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather see Volkov win, but you know, if it ain't there, it ain't there. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You know, sorry, I'm just checking something real quick. The A24 backrooms thing. It's you know, one of the most annoying pieces of millennial shit is that we now have creepypastas that are turning into movies, you know. It's bad enough when creepypastas become games. Like, that's kind of passable. You know, I remember Slender back my senior year of high school. It was like 2012, 2013. We used to play that in our computer classes and stuff like that. And it was kind of fun, you know. Video games is a little bit more passable, but making like A24 making a movie about the back rooms, nah, nah. And of course, it's got to be a black dude in the lead because they're gonna be because that's what Jordan Peele has done to horror movies. You know, it's like, man, you got to be fucking kidding me. You know, I kind of want Tyra to win. Japan has such a rich history in the world of MMA, and them having a champion feels overdue. Yeah, yeah, like Japanese MMA is a weird one because like it's so insular, you know. Same thing with Japanese boxing. Like, they have a lot of talented guys, and I feel like a lot of the most talented guys don't ever leave Japan. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You know, for one thing, I got to be honest with you. I do think there probably is a skill gap to some degree, right? I'm not saying all of them, but like a lot of the Japanese dudes that could come over to here, I have a feeling they might not do as well, right? But then in addition to that, they make so much money over in Japan that they don't feel a need to leave, you know? Excuse me. These guys become national heroes and they make like millions and millions. So it's like, why leave? Why bother, you know? I don't I don't want to get on a plane to fly somewhere to fight somebody. That sucks. I don't like plane rides. Get out of here, you know? Fucking I'd rather hop on the train, the Japanese subway, and get there and you know be ready to go, you know. Oh, they gave it a Volkov, by the way. They gave it a Volkov. But yeah, you know, like it yeah. You know, I don't think I have a dog in the fight of the next fight, you know, whether it's Tyra or Van. You know, I don't think I have a dog in that fight. I don't think I mind either one of them winning, you know. Did you guys know Moderna is headquartered in Massachusetts? Did you guys know that? Yeah, Moderna is headquartered in Massachusetts, and I'm looking at the Google reviews. KJ Perry from 3 years ago got the Moderna jab, then a blood clot formed in my right coronary artery. It popped, creating a lesion, which then resulted in me having a myocardial infarction, heart attack. This was in August 2021. I was 32 years old at the time. Thankfully, I knew to go to the ER when I felt pain in my chest. The doctors and nurses at St. Elizabeth's saved my life. I have two metal stents in my artery now. Jeez Louise. That's crazy. That is crazy. You have some fucking like old fuck love oldies 50 5 stars left it 4 years ago. Thank you, Moderna, for creating a terrific antiviral. Great job. You saved innumerable lives through your efforts. Well done. I wish they didn't save your life. It's like holy fuck. That's fucking insane. Holy moly. If you said calf kick in the mirror, oh, I've already read that one. Already read that one. Sorry, just looking around. They have good fighters like Rod Tang, but I think it caters more to the international crowd compared to the UFC. Yeah, that's kind of their thing. Like if you go just by like viewership or like the countries that they tend to cater to, technically One Championship is the biggest organization in the world. But like I said, they're constantly hemorrhaging money. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, yeah, it's like how BKFC, right? When BKFC first came around, they called themselves the fastest growing combat sport in the world. And it's like, yeah, because you're going from 0 to 1. You literally didn't have anything until your first fight, until your first not organization, card, until your first show. Like, you can't go any faster growing than having nothing to having something. Everything after that is like short. It's like I love seeing shit like that. I love hearing shit like that because I just look at it and I'm like, you fucking idiot. But here we are. We got Tatsuro Taira versus, I believe his name is Joshua Van. I'm pretty sure it is Joshua Van. Yeah, like outside of Japan, a lot of Japanese fighters have not had that much success, or just outside of an Asian market. You have Risen in Japan, and then you have One Championship that you see these dudes sometimes go to. But usually, when you see Japanese fighters, and that's part of the reason why you don't see too many of them, because when excuse me, when the guy that you thought was the best, truthfully, this is something that happened with me too, if I'm being honest with you guys. When the guy that you thought was the best dude you've ever seen in person goes to America and he loses, you kind of think to yourself, damn, can I make it? That was the guy I looked up to. And that's something that happened with me at one point. Truthfully, and maybe this is just the fighter's narcissism. I got over that real quick. But I did have a moment like 9-10 years ago where some of the dudes that I started out with, that I was like, wow, that dude's a fucking animal, he's going places, they made it somewhere like the UFC, or they went to Strikeforce, Bellator, or like some other big promotion, and they got their ass handed to them. Like, when I saw that, I was like, oh damn, fuck, that was the guy I thought was going to go all the way. Oh shit, I didn't even think I was as good as that guy. Oh fuck, damn, I don't know. Oh fuck, I don't know. You know, I do think it's real easy for me to sit here and say I think I could have, right? Obviously, like, if I didn't think I could have, why would I have done anything in the first place? But like, I do think that I could have actually maybe not become a champion. That's something that I would have had to get there first and then seen like how I could make things play out. But I do think I could have made it to the UFC, and I do think I could have done like decently okay, you know. You know, I could have been a contender. I could have been a contender. I don't even know where that's from. I don't know where that's from. Where is that from, High Ecuador? Because that's definitely a thing that like that's got to be from like a movie or a TV show or something like that. But no, like there are multiple problems, there are multiple issues that happened with me that caused me to not follow through with that dream, right? One of them is that in the early days, I was not as dedicated as I should have been. For my first like 2 or 3 fights, I was not as dedicated as I should have been, and because of that, I did not do as well as I should have done. And the fact that I won 1 out of the 3 of my MMA fights to me is like, wow, how did I even do that? It's pretty crazy considering the fact that I was smoking cigarettes and weed and I was skipping training. you know, it was so foolish of me, right? But that's one of the big reasons, right? But eventually I left that shit behind. I was still smoking weed, but I quit cigarettes. Um I stopped skipping the gym, and I started doing the things that I was supposed to do. The other aspects of that was that one, I didn't have anybody who cared about me enough to make sure that I did not take fights that I shouldn't have taken. That is a huge, 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 that is the most important thing you need in especially the modern fight game, is somebody who is going to actually take a second to be like, whoa, hey, what was the name you just gave me? Let me. Oh, he's undefeated world champion at the amateur MMA games. I think that's a thing. The collegiate wrestler who also has a Pan American gold medal in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be taking that one, guy. Give me somebody a little bit better, okay? I didn't have anybody who would be willing to do that for me. And because of that, I took fights with dudes that frankly I shouldn't have been taking fights with. And then on top of that, the training that I was getting, um, it was not what it needed to be. It's not like Wimp Low. It's not like they were training me wrong as a joke, right? But I needed somebody who would school me in MMA specifically. Instead, for my first fight, I'm doing gi jujitsu and they're showing us how to do fucking spider guard in the gi. And I have a fight in a month that I need to be getting ready for. And my coach is like, no, this is good. This is good. This is good for you. This is what you need. This is good for you. Like a fucking idiot, you know? My coach, who, mind you, had like 30 to 40 MMA fights of his own, so he knows that this shit is not good for me. He just doesn't give enough of a fuck about me to go the extra mile to make sure that I'm getting what I need. And he's also not willing to let me go anywhere else. I told him, hey, I think it would be a good idea for me to get some work in at this gym here. And he's like, I don't know about that. I don't think you should. And of course, like, I was too naive to be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I need to get away from him. That's the real reason why I haven't fought since 2019. Because when I fought in 2019, I was training myself. He was nice enough to have me do wind sprints 3 times a week. He showed up for the 20 to 30 minutes that it took for me to do wind sprints a few times a week. But other than that, I was coaching the fucking Muay Thai class that I was supposed to be taking to prepare. So because of that, all I got was like pad work once or twice a week, and then a little bit of sparring, and then some conditioning. And that does not the good fighter make. That does not the successful fighter make. And when I thought about it after that last fight of mine in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm going to fight again. This COVID thing is going on, because my last fight was October of 2019. Like 2 months later, COVID was like, bang. It hit the world. This COVID thing is going on. Nobody's fighting anywhere right now. Like, whatever. I'll just, I'll take some time. But regardless of what's going on, I need good training with good dudes who are going to make sure that I'm reaching my potential if I'm going to fight again. And I haven't been able to find that since. I ended up in a situation. I meet my wife. I move out on my own. I was living with my parents for a year or so before I met my wife, because the rooming house I was living in burned down. And because of that, like, well, I need to make rent. So I need to get a different job that is more labor intensive. And then I also need the money that I'm getting from teaching classes at the gym, And I was talking about it with my wife, like it's really frustrating. And that's why I'm so averse to people and things that waste my time. Like that's why like High Ecuador likes to give me some shit every now and again when when like let's say Arc Raiders I die in a way that I think is kind of bullshit. I get upset about that. It's not just that I'm a sore loser. I'm actually like very comfortable taking an L. It's when I feel that it is unfair and that my time was wasted because I've wasted so much time in my life and I was not able to achieve the dreams that I wanted to try and achieve uh, because of those time wasters, because of those things that wasted my time. And because of that, excuse me. And because of that, whenever someone or something wastes my time, I want there to be consequences, you know? I sit here like fucking when I'm upset, I tell my wife, and that's why I think people who waste time should be fucking stoned. They should have stones thrown at them. They should be put in the stocks, you know? And we should be able to throw tomatoes at them is what we should be able to do, you know? Excuse me. It's 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 so it's so fucking frustrating, you know? It's so fucking frustrating. And what you gonna do, you know? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. All I can do is just move on and I'm still in the MMA world. I'll probably fight one or two more times at some point, but like I said, not until I get proper training. Not until I can actually be in an environment that's gonna guarantee that I have the best chance of winning that I can have, and it's like, hey, I'll open my own gym at some point, and if I do have fighters, I'll make sure that I put in the effort that did not get put in with me. And I will make sure that everybody gets what they need in order to be the fighter that they can be, you know? Amazing. He's still mad over that JFC. I'm not mad over it. It's just like I was thinking of examples of when I get angry over wasted time. And I was like, yeah, like when I die in a video game and it's bullshit, it feels like I wasted my time. Oh yeah, I remember High Ecuador was giving me shit for that one day, Someone should have sent you to Thailand for a few months. That would have been nice. That would have been cool. It just this is why I put so much thought into the kind of dad that I'm going to be, and this is why I'm working on myself right now to try and make sure that I'm going to be like the best father that I can be, because I was not raised to have the discernment that I needed to decide who was going to be worth my time and who would not be worth my time. Um, and as a result, I wasted a lot of time on people that a lot of other people, like I know people who went to this gym who would go on to the UFC, who there's a chick that I train with. She's won multiple Pan American championships in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think she even won an IBJJF Worlds or two, right? Now, this is women's jiu-jitsu here, so let's, you know, but it's still a world championship, so good for her. But like she had the discernment to be like, this is not an environment where I'm going to grow into an adult world champion in. She had already won a world championship as a juvenile. I think she was like 13 or 14 at the time. She had already won once as a child, so she was like, I know I can win, but I need the right environment. And sure enough, she left. She spent like a month at another gym, just like in between when she was at my place and when she would run down to fight sports in Miami, and now she's out in California, like good for her. She's kind of a bitch, if I'm being honest with you. She's kind of a bitchy like asshole, but like, good for her for winning the championships. But um like I just did not have the discernment that I needed, and I thought I was doing the right thing by being loyal to this guy, but he has done nothing except saddle me with a bunch of things that I should not be saddled with and put me on the back burner when I should have been one of the main projects, because I know the fight IQ that I have, the physical gifts that I have, because I am a very athletic dude, you know. Um, my ability to pick up techniques and strategies and understand them and implement them, I know that I could have been good enough to at least make it to the UFC, you know? But like I said, that naivete and not having the people that I needed to make sure that I could actually like reach my potential, you know? Because the fight world, when you're in the cage, it's just you and the other guy. But outside of that, it's your coach, it's your manager, it's your nutritionist, it's whoever you hire or whoever you have for whoever you have for recovery. You know, it's a team sends their champion into the cage to fight. You know, if you don't have that team that gives a fuck about you, you don't. You know, hey, it is what it is. But speaking of training, remember when Jimmy claimed he had 11 years of MMA experience on season 2? Yeah, he did that right in front of me. It was 12 years of MMA, actually. Man, I love Jimmy. He's a fun guy to be around. You know, he's just a cool dude. Um, but like when he said that, I was just immediately like, I wrote him off right away. I was like, I'm gonna have fun fucking with this guy, you know. But Jimmy turned out to be a good guy, you know. Scott is so jealous of this girl. I am. No, but like the reason I call her a bitch is because truthfully, the way that she left was not very good. She decided she was gonna leave. She asked me if I could cover one of her classes one day because we were both coaching at this place. She says, I have a headache. Would you be willing to cover my class? I say, sure. I show up, I teach her class, and then she just didn't come back the next week. She didn't come back next week. And I guess she had talked to my coach and said like, hey, like I need to go get other training. So she went to that other place and she started getting other training. And the thing is, she had the only access to certain things of ours. Like she had access to the Instagram that she had created for the gym. She was the only one who had access to that. There are other things that only she had access to that we absolutely positively needed as a business. And instead of her saying, hey, I'm going to go, here's your stuff back, she took that stuff with her and didn't tell us whether or not she was coming back. Now, me, because at this time I actually gave a fuck about the place, I wasn't just collecting a check, much like I am now. I was like, no, we need that shit back, man. Like, so I hit her up. I'm like, hey, are you going to be coming back? I'm just wondering. And she started just being an absolute fucking bitch about it. Like, I put her on the spot and she didn't like that. And she's like just being a fucking cunt. I forget exactly what she said, but she tried to turn it into something where she tried to like pretend like I was trying to hold her back or something like that. And I was like, no, feel free to do whatever you want. Just give us back our shit. That's all I want. Also, yeah, I do care about you. You know, it would be nice to have you fucking come back, but if not, at the very least, you could say goodbye to people, you know? Um, so yeah, like she took our shit for like 2, maybe even 3 months. We didn't have access to some of the stuff that we needed access to, and it caused problems for us. It caused problems, you know? And even trying to get that stuff back was like a pain in the ass. Like, you know, when you send someone a message, you're like, "Hey, I need this info." And they you send someone a message, "Hey, I need the password to the Netflix." And they send you the password to like Prime Video instead. And they like you're like, no, that's the Prime Video. I need Netflix, and they give you like attitude about it. Like that's the type of bitch that she was, you know. Um, so it's like, yeah, she's just kind of like a fucking cunt, you know. You can be a champion without being a fucking dickhead, and she's just, one of those dickheads. What you gonna do, but yeah, like, I didn't blame her for leaving. It was like good that she left, honestly, because look at what happened with me. My potential was never fully realized. Her potential was good for her. I will say, though, you can tell she's on fucking steroids, which is a prerequisite for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu greatness. No matter who you are, no matter what you are, you need to be doing steroids to be that good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I can tell you, she's most certainly on steroids. When I knew her, she was always kind of manly, square jaw, big hands, big feet, broad shoulders, skinny waist. She was always kind of like that. But now she's got a musculature to her that is just not natural. Not natural. I can tell you that much. Um, I would just tell you to do a Fallon Fox and rack up the wins. That's my move. That's my move for sure. Oh, your opponent has been surviving. Oh, your opponent has been surviving off of dog meat from strays he killed in the street and has committed war crimes in Afghanistan while not attached to any side. Yeah, that one will work. That's basically the shit that happened to me. I faced two collegiate wrestlers, one of which was the captain of his college wrestling program, right? And then I faced a dude who trained with a former UFC guy. I beat the dude who trained with a former UFC guy. The collegiate wrestler who was the captain of his team, they lied about his experience. They said he had a little bit of wrestling experience. Being the captain of a college team, even if it's D3, even if it's club wrestling, that's basically like a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you get up to like NCAA Division I, that's like low brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you had to draw comparisons. And here I am. I was a dog shit high school wrestler and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu white belt with 2 whole stripes on that thing at that point. 2. Count them, 2 stripes on my white belt. I should not have been fighting that guy. Me and that guy shouldn't have been in the cage together, but somebody somewhere lied. I don't know if it was the guy himself or if it was the promoter undersold his talent, but I found out later that he was offered to like 2 or 3 other dudes who were smart enough to Google his name and see his experience and go, and he went, and those 2 or 3 dudes turned him down. They were like, nah, fuck that. I ain't fighting that dude. Someone's trying to set me up. I did not think about that because I didn't know anything. My coach was like, hey, you okay with fighting this guy? All right, cool. And it's like I got fucking demolished. And I ended up with a dislocated knee because I didn't know how to kick right at the time. I threw a kick. My leg straightens out in a weird way. I feel a pop when I put it back down. And I walked around on that for like 3 months until I popped it back into place accidentally. It's like, holy fucking shit, dude. Fucking, it's ridiculous. It sucks. It's awful. And there's a takedown attempt from Tyra. He is in deep, as Joe Rogan said there against the cage, and we're going to see if he can, and there is the takedown from Tyra. Takedown into the mount position, and we have grapevines as well from Tyra right away. We have Van he was trying to get out. That was a good start for Tyra. I'll say one more thing before I move on from this topic, because I can go on and on and on about it for hours, because like it's my life wasted, Part of my life was wasted, and that sucks. I had one dude sit me down, right? It was actually the coach of my coach. This guy was teaching some Muay Thai at our gym. He taught there for like a few months, and then he skedaddled because he saw the writing on the wall. He sits me down, and he says, look, you have a lot of talent and a lot of potential. What you need is a better foundation. He was basically trying to tell me, hey, get out of this place, kid. You're not gonna make it if you're in this place. And the thing is, at that time, I did not have a car and I did not have enough money to be paying to go elsewhere. So I was basically stuck at that gym if I wanted to even train, let alone fight. And I think about that sometimes, and it's just like, man, you know, ooh, we have what is looking to be a guillotine attempt with an arm in, but ooh, okay, we have Tyra. So Tyra has a front headlock position right now. It looks like he's trying to set it up into a guillotine. He might be, yes, there they are, out of it. A punch on the way out from Tyra does not land. Didn't look like it landed anyway. Ooh, this double jab followed by a cross. The jabs land from Van. The cross does not. This jab from Tyra. Scott never had the makings of a varsity athlete. Hell yeah, bro. I'm so glad I watched Sopranos so that I know what that means now. No, but like that's the thing though, is I was being told, "Hey kid, you have the makings of a varsity athlete, but you're never gonna make it there, if you don't fucking get out of this place." And sure enough, I didn't get out of the place. I'm still there today. So we have a double leg takedown from Tyra, and we are seeing that Habib Nurmagomedov style leg entanglement up against the cage. Tyra has the leg entanglement, which is making it impossible for Van to get out, but he gives that up in order to try and jockey for a different position here. He's got to be very careful because Van he pulls him out from the cage. I was going to say Van can use the cage to stand up. He's got to be careful about that. Van got pulled out for a second, but he is back up against the cage right now. You see, the thing about this situation is that Tyra is basically holding on for dear life. It's actually, a lot of people think whoever's on top is always going to be in the better position when it comes to fatigue. But no, in this case, Tyra actually has the more fatiguing situation because Van can just take it easy against the cage, It's actually kind of inverted. When somebody's up against the cage, they don't have to put in that much effort because they're against the cage. It's not going to get much worse, Someone can try and take you down, but you're going to feel that shift in their weight and their body move. And because of that, you're going to know, okay, time to tense up and actually put in some work. But other than that, if you're the person who has the guy up against the cage, you're constantly working to try and keep that guy up against the cage, But we have the takedown from Tyra into the mount position from Van. You don't see a ton of mount position in modern MMA, and it's because it can be a little bit easy to get out of depending on how you're doing things. But I think it really, okay, we have an attempt to get out from Van. He stands up, eats a couple of punches on the way out, and there is an elbow from Tyra. That was nice. Tyra went to the wrong corner. That's funny as hell. You just know this girl beat the shit out of Scott numerous times. No, and that's the funny thing is because like this world champion, because she's a girl who fights at like 105 pounds, I'm pretty sure. She grapples at like 105 pounds. There was nothing she could do. There was nothing she could do. I would stack her every time we would go. And I realize now that was such a dick move of me to do. that's such an asshole move to always fucking stack somebody. But yeah, that's how we would roll every time, Excuse me. But yeah. Tyra obviously doing something right here. Oh, okay. Tyra obviously doing something right here. He's that was definitely a round one for him. Scott, do you think your fight career would be more successful if you competed in women's MMA instead of men's? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm scared of girls, so they might actually have the advantage there. So we have Van. If there's one thing that I do like from Van, it's that he can put hands on Tyra, It's just that Tyra, when he shoots in for that takedown, he gets it more often than not, and that's what Van's got to be careful of, if he can land, because Van, my understanding of Van is that he does have some decent power for someone of his size. There's a takedown attempt from Tyra. He's in on a deep, high crotch, transitions to the double leg against the cage right now. What Tyra's got to do is he's either got to pull one of the legs out from underneath him, or he's got to level change. He's got to go deep, and then he's got to pull the legs out from the cage. Oh, Joshua Van trying to reverse position. Oh, hey, there's a nice knee from Tyra on the break. That was nice. Ooh, there's a cross up the middle from Tyra, but countered by Van. Ooh, that was an interesting knee from Tyra. That was a little bit nerve-wracking to see that. That almost landed right on Van. Ooh, there's a jab on the level change from Van. That is nice. And that's what I was talking about, is when Van reaches out, he touches Tyra, He's able to make it work. Ooh, there's a cross up the middle from Van, followed by a jab. Van is landing pretty much at will right now, Tyra's got to, honestly, Tyra's got to be real careful. He's got to get on his horse. He's got to use that movement to make Van miss, because he is the longer, taller guy. And this is what I was talking about with Volkov, is Volkov was the longer fighter by a lot. He should be using that jab. He should be going double jab, triple jab. He should be throwing teeps and things like that. Volkov was doing good with those teeps. He's got to make sure that Van can't just walk him down, because that's what Van was doing before this takedown, where Tyra ended up in the mount position after, with the grapevines in the airplane position. Got a couple of shots from Tyra. Joshua Van almost out of that. If he can get his knees out, he's pretty much out of that control position. He's got one of his knees out, and he is in the butterfly. He has the butterflies in, so he's in a guard right now. Tyra's got to be very careful, because he could get swept where he is right now. He's got his weight over Joshua Van right now. Joshua Van uses the butterflies to try and create a little bit of space. It doesn't quite work. He's got one butterfly in right now. One thing that you don't see as much in jiu-jitsu, in MMA, is sweeps. And I feel like you definitely could sweep a lot more than a lot of people do. I feel like you could get away with it a lot better, a lot easier. Maybe easier isn't the way to describe it, but people just don't go for them. They just don't go for them, It's not that they wouldn't work. It's that, like, dudes are just they just don't do them, So Joshua Van ended up in the mount position, but he bumped, got to his side, and then he shrimped out of there. That's actually really good. That's some good. You're seeing some actually, like, nice technical jiu-jitsu here from both of them. I do kind of like that. Like, when I see grappling exchanges, even if there aren't tons of punches thrown, I want to see some good technical jiu-jitsu. I want to see action. I want to see transitions. I want to see dudes going from the mount position, escaping to the guard. I want to see people attempting sweeps. I want to see people attempting stand-ups. I want to see submission attempts. I want to see action, to put it in one word. I want to see action, and we're seeing a little bit of action here. So even though you're not seeing a ton of damage done, I do appreciate some of the stuff you're seeing. We now have a front headlock position from Tyra, putting Jan Van up against the cage. He lets him go, and there's a jab from Van. Oh, cross by Van, and Tyra is in trouble. He is in real trouble right now. He's doing a good job. Ooh, we have some rubber guard action right now, which is a really good option to go for in this situation here. That was a crazy cross up the middle from Peter Van, and we're gonna see if he can. Yes, that is the end of the round. Tyra survives, and that I don't know if that knockdown is going to give Van the round. I got to be honest with you, but as I was saying, like Tyra, whenever Van throws, he's putting hands on Tyra, and because of that, that was bound to happen. Tyra tried to throw a kick, Van threw a cross up the middle, and bang, knocked him on his ass. And what's it called? That was good composure from Tyra. That definitely hurt him. You could tell he was dazed, but he slowed the fight down. He slowed it down. He didn't bang right on the chin. That was really nice. And you can, like I said, you can tell Tyra was hurt. You can tell Tyra was like actually hurt. He was dazed and confused. And he did a good job of wrapping up Van and then using that what's it called? That rubber guard, excuse me, to try and slow down, because that's what you need in that situation. You need to slow the pace down drastically. All right, so we now have round 3 of this 5-round championship fight, and it has been a pretty interesting fight so far, I have to say, Takedown attempt from Tyra is stopped by Van. There's a jab from Van, followed by another jab after a head kick does not land. Again, some of the best boxers in the world right now are like Enson Inoue, right? I'm pretty sure that was his name. No, it wasn't Enson Inoue, was it? There's one Japanese boxer who is like considered to be one of the best right now. Yeah, no. Why did I think his name was Enson Inoue? Fuck. That's a different dude. But one of the best boxers in the world right now is from Japan, and he fights in Japan almost exclusively. Why would you not work with that guy, knowing that you're going to come over to America, which has a much bigger boxing culture than even Japan does? You can tell that Tyra simply does not know what he's doing with his hands. He's got the head movement of a scarecrow pretty much. And the thing is, head movement or no head movement, what he's allowing Van to do is walk him down. Van marches into range for free. There is nothing. Ooh. Joshua Van letting it go right now, unloading. A lot of those did not land, but they're still really, really stressful to have to deal with. Ooh, this jab. You see, and now Van doesn't even have to land bombs. He just keeps it technical, keeps it nice and compact, just bang, bang, bang. He's hitting them. Ooh, there's an uppercut followed by a right hook, a short right hand. The uppercut definitely landed. The right hand may have landed. It might not have, though. But all he's got to do, Tyra is down. And we're going to see, is this fight over? He's trying to get up. He's not having a good go of it right now. Taking some punches. Nothing too crazy right now, though, but it's adding up for sure. Tyra is back to his feet. Van has his back, and he is down. Tyra trying to get back up. Van has a rear naked choke, and it is in. Rear naked choke with the head turned. That is not good. If there is not a choke, it could be a neck crank, and Tyra is out of that. Good for him. But there is another rear naked choke attempt, not as good as the other one. Rear naked choke. We're going to see. Does he? No. Tyra survives again. But what I was saying is Tyra keeps letting Joshua Van march in for free. He doesn't have anything to offer up to keep Van afraid of just walking right into the range he needs to be in and landing. It does look like Tyra may have landed something that stumbled Van just a little bit, but it wasn't enough. There's a cross up the middle from Van, And the thing is, like I said, Van is keeping it nice and compact. He's not even going crazy right now. He's just reaching out and touching Tyra because that's all he needs to do, One of those punches eventually is going to hurt him, and the ones that don't hurt him, they're just adding to the damage, See, Van bit. Ooh, there's an uppercut from Van that may have landed, followed by a jab. Van bit on that level change, and he bit hard. I would like to. Ooh, there's a double jab from Tyra. I think Tyra's getting sick of getting touched. Oh, there's a jab followed by a takedown attempt. Tyra's in deep. We're going to see if he can get it. He needs to level change more. He's up a little bit too high right now. Oh, he's got a body lock. He transitions. We're going to see if he can get it. He has I was going to say he could try to reap the leg out, but instead he goes for the body lock takedown. He rides the body, lands a couple of shots on Van when he goes down, but Van is back up and he is trying to work for the over-unders. And we have a takedown attempt, and it is good. The kind of takedown that I was trying, I forget if I actually got the word out. I was trying to say he could utilize before, where he reaps the leg out from underneath him. Joshua Van is back up. You can tell Tyra is not liking how much he's getting hit. He's moving forward. He's throwing punches. There's a nice shot right there. And we will see a round 4. Scott, is Jimmy the best MMA fighter in fish tank history? He's the deadliest. He is the deadliest. Imagine Scott versus Letty in women's MMA. Letty immediately dominates Scott, and he taps out while jizzing his pants. Fish tank could have been so much more. It could have been legendary. Could have been legendary. Man. Yeah, I mean, that first round was definitely Tyra's, but that third round was definitely Van's, and who that second round went to, I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. I feel like people could make an argument for either way. It's a tough one. So I was checking Twitter. All right, we're going to see here. Ooh, an uppercut. So there was a calf kick from Tyra. Ooh, and we have a slugfest going on right now. I only seem to catch a stream on fight nights. I used to watch a lot. Things get busy, but it's nice to see Scott still on. Hey, thank you very much, Raiden's Temple. I appreciate you. I appreciate you popping in. So we have Joshua Van right now. He's got over-unders on Tyra, and he's got butterflies in right now. He lets go of the over-unders, which means he's probably going to try to do something here. No, he's still got the over-unders. He had a body lock on Tyra. Ooh, okay. He's trying to sweep. He's trying to use those butterflies. Oh, okay. So this is interesting. He turned the butterflies into, talking about Tyra turned the butterflies that he was in into the leg entanglement. That's interesting. That's interesting. So now we have what could potentially be a guard pass. Yes, we have a guard pass into the mount position, and Tyra is in a dominant position again with Peter Van. I keep almost wanting to call him Peter Yan, with Joshua Van taking some shoulder strikes from the top. Who are your favorite fish tank contestants of all time? My top 5 are Jimmy, Alex B, Bert, Freddie, and Landon. I don't know if I have favorites. I got to be honest with you. I liked Shinji. I liked TJ. I liked Vance. I liked Sylvia. John as well. Alex B, I hated him, but in a way that I like, if that makes sense. He was fun to hate, and because of that, I'll put him in there. Not exactly 5, but you get the idea. I'm trying to think who else. So we have that mount position right here with what looks like Tyra was trying to set up an Americana. Ooh, there's an elbow from Tyra, followed by a punch. See, okay. Oh, shit, a triangle choke. Uh-oh. Joshua Van in a triangle, but he's about to pop out. And, oh, man. Man. You don't see triangle chokes in MMA anymore. If this ended with a triangle choke, that would have been fucking amazing. And it's like Tyra is the kind of grappler, and so is Van. I'll give it to him. Like they can use some technical jujitsu, and it can actually work out pretty well. You got to give it to them. Ooh, there's a cross followed by a jab, followed by another cross from Van. Tyra egging him on. There's a almost said an elbow, a knee attempt followed by a jab from Tyra. Oh, hey, there is a lead leg kick, excuse me, from Tyra. There's exchanged jabs. Looks like there's a Robbie Lawler cut that formed here on Tyra. There's a calf kick. There's a teep that does not land. There's a jab that lands, all from Tyra. There's a jab that lands from what's his face, Van. Then another jab. Kind of exchanging jabs right now. The pace is still up there, but the kind of punches that they're throwing, the kind of actions they're taking kind of imply that it is, it's late fight. They're starting to get a little bit tired, The pace is still up there pretty well, but they're throwing, more jabs. When you get tired, you want to throw your jab, Gonna see if he can get this takedown right now. They're up against the cage. And there was a reap attempt, did not work. Tyra's a dog. Yeah, you got to give it to him, Would have been real easy for him to just kind of, there's a cross that lands. Yeah, I'm reasonably sure there's one of those Robbie Lawler type cuts where like the lip splits. No, actually I was wrong. It looked like it. It looked like it. You know what I think? You know what I think it was? I think it was just discoloration that looked like um, man. Yeah, you got to give it a Tyra. It would have been real easy for him to just kind of shell up and be like, okay, like I tried my best. That's what happens a lot. Like truth be told, and Chael Sonnen has talked about this. There's been a couple of guys that have talked about this. A lot of the time, dudes don't lose fights to the other guy. They lose fights to themselves where they get hit hard or they get really tired and they decide, you know what? I think I've tried hard enough and I don't think I'm going to win this fight. I think I'm okay with calling it quits here. And either A, maybe they dangle an arm out and somebody throws an arm bar in and tap, 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 tap. Oh man, darn it, you got me. Or they just kind of shell up and they wait for the referee to end the fight, you know? That happens a lot more than you guys may realize, including in title fights. It happens a lot more than you realize, So good on Tyra in that second round and then in that third round for not being like, okay, I tried hard and I whatever, it's cool, Couple of jabs so far from Van that definitely landed. There's a calf kick attempt from Tyra. Ooh, a short cross from Van. You see, it's round 5. There's been a little over 20 minutes of MMA action right now. You got to think Tyra, he wants to shoot in for that takedown, but those guys are slick right now. They're definitely slick, Tyra up against the cage. Van reversing position. Tyra throws a knee that does not land on the break, but Van gets him with a jab. Trading jabs there. Ooh, Van takes a few, but then he returns a few to the body. This is a slugfest right now. These guys are really getting at it. You know, you got to give it to both of them. They are absolutely showing what MMA is all about. You know, these guys both want it just as bad as the other right now. Tyra. Tyra. Oh, mm, I don't agree with that stoppage. I don't agree with that stoppage. Tyra took a couple of good shots. He definitely did. But you know what? I don't agree with that stoppage. I don't. No, nah. I don't like that. Just as I'm talking about how these guys both want it like as badly as the other. Tyra gets hurt and he has the fight stopped. Not he, but like the fight gets stopped on him when I think they should have gave it another second or two. They should have gave it another second or two to see what happened. He could have gone. He like if he did what he had done before, he would have went to the ground. He would have tried his best to slow the pace of the fight down. You know, but nah, shut the fuck up, Joe Rogan. You don't know what you're talking about. Quit smoking the fucking weed, you dickhead. You fucking idiot. That was a good stoppage. No, I disagree. I disagree with that. You know, I do not agree. Yeah, let's look at the stoppage again. So you can see there was a cross that hurt him. Bang. And then it's coming. You see what it was, that cross right there, right? He took a couple more hard shots, but overall he was still in control. He was still good. You know, he just had a moment where he was getting caught. It's a fight. That's going to happen, you know? Joshua Van did something really good there, though. He did really good at mixing up his shots. He wasn't going all to the body, all to the head. He wasn't going all to the body. He was going head, body, head. You know, couple up top, few down low, bang, and then he nails him. You know, good for him on that one. That was really good. Oh man, man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Nah, this definitely was a good fight. It was a good fight. I didn't like the stoppage, but the fight itself was very very good, very good. You know, man. Sorry, just looking around right now. I almost didn't stream tonight because I had a crazy headache that lasted like all day, and like 10, 15 minutes after the card started, the headache went away. But I'm still kind of like I'm kind of I'm a little I'm just a little um I didn't eat a lot today too. I'm kind of like, dude, what is there to eat around here? What is there to eat around here, man? What do I got? What do I got to eat? Um I had some leftover Japanese food is what I had, you know. I don't know, I might eat the rest of this. Fuck 'em. It's not bad. Whatever, bro. Dehydration or lack of calories could have been either, you know. I'm a I'm on Zepbound now, so like it's fucking with my ability to eat. Um, so like it could have been either. Could have been dehydration. Could have been lack of calories. You know. Um, all I know is that like I go and I lay down and I slept for like an hour and a half and it started going away, but when I woke up, it fucking like it was just like a throbbing headache, but now it's gone. You know. Oh, man. Similar to Ozempic. Yeah, yeah. It's not the same drug as Ozempic. But it is. I believe they call it a GLP-1 or something like that. But yeah, I was like not to go back into the whole like my life was wasted thing, right? Because my life wasn't wasted. I'm 31 years old. I got plenty of time to make something of myself, and I have done some really good things in the time that I have been alive. The activism stuff, like we changed the game in a way that like my sons are out there doing their shit now. But then also like Fish Tank and stuff like that. That's a lot of I've been able to do so much cool stuff with my life, but the stuff where I was like, hey, this is my passion, this is what I want to pursue. Um, the time was wasted. It was not utilized properly. But excuse me. Part of the issues that I've been facing have been I don't have time to take care of myself anymore. Excuse me. Jeez. Um, so like, sorry, I'm just looking around. Who the Nasruddin Imavov? Holy fuck. I don't want that guy anywhere near anyone. Fuck that guy. Anyway, I was unable to take care of myself for so long. Like the only thing that I had to look forward to each and every day was coming home and like eating junk food. And I would eat so much junk food. I would stress eat. And because of that, combined with the fact that instead of working out at the gym, I'm helping other people to work out at the gym. I got really, really fucking fat. I was 285 pounds starting this year off. Now I'm somewhere in the 245 to 250 range. That's great. Not where I want to be at all, though. I want to be a little bit over or a little bit under 200 pounds. And that's what the Zep Bound has helped me with. It's helped me to kind of get on my way to doing that, as well as adjusting some eating habits, Um, and it's helped. It's helped. I miss the YouTube usernames, bro. Dude, yeah. YouTube was great back when you made a screen name. Back before Google Plus was a thing. Anyone remember Google Plus? That was Google's attempt to have like a Facebook killer. And because you needed a Google Plus account to make a YouTube account, like you had the first and last name thing that people started doing. And the way to bypass that was to just put whatever screen name you wanted as your first name and then not have a last name. Or like it would be like one name and then another name like Dick Pussy, and then like it was fucking that shit sucked. There's always some asshole who thinks they're gonna change the game, and they change a winning system. They fix something that's not broke, and then it sucks, and it's never the same again. And they don't just go back to the old system. No, 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 no. Instead, you have somebody who they fixed the thing that's not broken, and now it's broken. And some other asshole who thinks he's Einstein, who thinks he's fucking Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, like innovator, Steve Jobs. He comes in and he thinks he's gonna fix the thing that's broken, but really he just breaks it more. He just fucking breaks it more, you know. And now you got Indians in the tech world who are just fucking it up on a level that we didn't even think was possible. It's like shit, man. That's terrible, awful. Would you recommend Zepbound or does it fuck you up? It fucks you up. I'll be honest with you guys. I have thrown up multiple times, but the thing is, it's because I overeat. I overeat, and because of that, like my body can't handle it, so I fucking I've gone a few weeks without it. In fact, like the only reason I'm telling you guys about it is because I have my last dose. I have my last couple of doses that I'm going to be taking soon, and like what's it called? I went like 2 or so weeks without the medication because I had to find like the cheapest deal that I could and get set up with that. Um, and like in that 2 week period, there was no weird like cool down phase. I was just fine. I kind of returned back to normal, except I was able to like, moderate what I was eating and how I was eating it and stuff like that. So that's a very good thing. Um what was I going to say? But yeah, I would, if you're that hopeless, if you're that desperate, I was desperate. If you're that desperate, you know, I would recommend it. It can be expensive if your shit is not taken care of, but I would recommend it. What was I gonna say? Um, um, uh, um, yeah, like when I was like 250 to 260 pounds, my doctor recommended that I get on it. And me being someone who was an athlete his entire life and somebody who has experience with losing weight, I was like, look, like I can, I'll do that. I'll do that, but I want to give it like a few months to see if I can lose some weight on my own. And I didn't lose the weight on my own. So like 4 or 5 months later, I ended up getting on the Zepbound. The first round of this fight will tell the story of this fight exactly. Um Man, Sully, how was Turkey? Looks like you didn't go too crazy and kept the hairline looking slightly receding. Smart move. That's kind of you to call it only slightly receding. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you, sir. One, also, I appreciate that. I'm gonna blush. You're flattering me. You're flattering me. Yeah. Daniel Cormier is a UFC house ninja. Massadena. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing too. Is I always liked Daniel Cormier. I never liked John Jones. I always thought he was a dickhead because he is. You know. Um, but like, fucking like he's a house ninja. You know, it's what he is. Has Strickland fought yet? I just got here. No, sir, Mr. Buster Zuzu. He is not fought yet, but he is about to fight. He is about to fight. Strickland fought in February. It's now March, April, May, right? It's early May. Fighting a title fight on 3 months' notice, considering the way that a lot of these dudes do their shit nowadays, is like you got to give that to him. You would expect him to be like, I need 6 months at least. I don't have the fight up. I assume I have to pay to watch. I found a shitty site. Pretty much. Pretty much. Sorry, just you know, doing my thing here. I mean, look, like I'm gonna say what everyone has said, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm the first guy to ever say it. The smart money is on Chimaev, but if Sean can stuff the takedown, it's his fight. You know, um, I wouldn't put it past Chimaev to surprise us on the feet. I wouldn't put it past him to do that. However, the smart money says it won't happen. You know, Sorry, just looking at some shit here. All right, we have Sean Strickland doing his thing and his stuff. All right, my ass is hurting. Oh man. I don't know why Asians like rice so much, man. I gotta be honest with you. Rice kind of fucking sucks. The only rice I think is good is yellow rice, you know? And is yellow rice even like actually yellow, or is it like one of those is it like chocolate milk or blue raspberry where it's like you have raspberry but you have to add something to make it blue and taste the way that it does, you know? I didn't know it. I mean, I knew there was no such thing as a blue raspberry, but like blue raspberry is just blueberry and raspberry mixed together. That was like a fucking mind blown type of thing for me. I had no clue that's what it was. Um, I figured it was just chemical, chemical and raspberry, which a lot of the time it is actually. But or like chocolate milk, you got to add chocolate syrup or just cocoa powder or chocolate flavoring, whatever you add to it. Um, like I don't know if yellow rice is actually like yellow rice or not, but yellow rice is good. I do like that. Other than that, it's like even with the even with the fucking even with the soy sauce, and like I had other stuff that I had with it too. I got a bento box from this hibachi place. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I guess it's hitting the spot right now, but it's like it's not as good as I would have hoped. It's not as good as you would hope. But for some reason, Asians just like go fucking crazy over this shit. I don't get it. I know you eat it with other things. Like that's the only way I can like reasonably enjoy rice. But like um you see Asians and it's like they have their fish and they eat it, and then they just take a big glob of rice and they fucking like they inhale it, and it's like, yo, that's insane. Sometimes I went to a Japanese barbecue place, one of those places that has like the grill in the middle, and you take the meat and you make it yourself in that grill that's in the middle of the table. And like I saw that like what they do is they have the big bowl of rice, and they fry or they grill the whatever, and they put it on top of the rice, you know? And like I figure, oh hey, that'll soak up the flavor. No, it just soaks up the color. That's all it does. It it's it's just brown rice now, and you don't get any of the flavor that you were hoping you would get. And it's like, man, I don't know what the deal with those guys are. Their minds haven't recovered from the 1,000+ years of being forced to eat it as stomach filler to not starve. That, honestly, it's like it's like the Irish with potatoes. Granted, potatoes are actually really fucking good. But like, yeah, potatoes are kind of, they are kind of peasant food, if we're being honest here. Oh, excuse me. Japanese and Korean rice taste sweeter than other types. And I don't know if I love that or hate that. On one hand, I would rather on one hand, like I feel like I would rather have something a little bit more savory, you know. Um, but hey, I don't know, man. I have Johnny, I hardly knew you stuck in my head now, you know. When going the road to sweet a thigh, haroo, haroo. When going the road to sweet a thigh, haroo, haroo. You see, I think I mentioned this on PKA as well. I know Hamzat is actually really, really fucking good. You know, he's not just like a good grappler who has a system that he utilizes. He's like actually like a monster as a grappler. Um, and I don't know if that makes me hate him more or if it makes me like him a little bit more. Because when it comes to the Dagestanis, right? You know, Islam, Habib, Umar, right? When it comes to those guys, I'm like, yo, fucking, these guys suck to watch, blah, blah, blah. But like with Hamzat, I look at him and I'm like, no, that guy is actually a fucking monster. You got to give it to him. And for me, it's like, I'm just like, fucking asshole. You know? He's not a likable dude, you know. He's just not a likable dude. And when he does feel threatened, he will hold you down and do nothing, you know. And then you have the you know, Muslim supremacists. There's a good chance this fight will be very boring. Mm-hmm. Very good chance is the worst part. Damn, there's like 100 people in the octagon. They don't trust either of them. They don't trust either of them. Cops too, not just fucking people. Cops, man. That's so fucking funny, dude. Hell yeah. That's just what I want to hear for this fight. Is Herb Dean as the third man? When I do have a dog in the fight, I get a little bit nervous watching, and I am feeling a little bit like, oh man, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? How's it gonna happen? It's gay. Oh man, I gotta piss. They got they got the big black dude standing on Sean's side. Like, hey man, please don't do anything. the the dude with the fucking beard is like, whoa, hey, take it easy, take it easy. The fucking glove touch. I think they both just like to fight. That's probably what it is. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a good fight. We'll see. There's a kick from Chimpanzee right out the gate. Another kick from Chimpanzee. Oh, and there's the takedown attempt, and he is able to get it. We're going to see if he can keep it. See, Strickland is out of that if he wants it. It's just tougher than it seems. He's comfortable right now, sort of landing some punches. Oh, and Strickland is almost back to his feet. And he is one hook in. Got to be very careful. Oh, Chimaev taking the back. Strickland, hand fighting. He's got to be very careful, See, Chimaev has his legs crossed right now. If Strickland, well, he doesn't anymore. I was going to say if Strickland wanted, he could. We have a potential for a rear naked choke. Got to be very careful of that. Now we have a body lock right now. What was I going to say? There was a point where Chimaev had the back and he had his legs crossed. He had his feet crossed. Strickland could have utilized that for a submission, but, it's a little bit late for that now. We have Chimaev riding the back of Sean Strickland right now, and he is riding the back. He has a body lock right now, a figure four, excuse me. A body triangle is what that is. Be nice to see Sean throw an elbow right now because I think he has the space. I think he has the space to be able to do so. Yeah, he's got the space to be able to throw an elbow. It wouldn't be too much damage that he's doing. It might not even be 100% worth it, but so we have Sean hand fighting effectively right now, but regardless, he's still caught in that predicament. He's got to be very careful about it. What's going on, Boomer 22? You see, Sean is up, and Sean might be up. No, he is not up yet. See, that is one thing, is that Daniel Cormier is talking about it. Hamzat doesn't fight you, he rides you, and that's the way that you kind of conserve energy on the top. Is you don't try to hold a position necessarily. You let that other guy exert energy trying to get out of the position you're in, and then when he's just about out, you say, okay, you want out, that's fine, and you transition into another strong position for you. And that's what's happening right now. Is Hamzat is waiting for Sean to move, and he's dragging him into another position that is not beneficial for him, and that's why Sean is having such a hard time. Sean is in the bottom position right now. He is trying to get out the back door. Again, still trying to get out the back door, not quite working. Instead, Hamzat is on the back again. Ooh, there is a slam from Hamzat. That is the most action we've seen from him this fight. So we have a little over 45 seconds left in this fight, and right now Strickland is doing a good job of hand fighting, but not doing a good job of escaping the position, which is, very annoying. Very annoying, What you gonna do? Somebody said this could be a very boring fight. Yeah, it's a pretty boring fight so far. Ooh, we have a submission attempt, a rear naked choke, and it is in. We're going to see if Sean can get his way out of it. Looks like he might be good. He's got 15 seconds left. He's got 15 seconds left, and Chimaev going for another one, but there is 10 seconds left. I don't think Sean will tap. Plus, he doesn't have it all the way in either. They need to change the rules to make MMA back into a fight. MMA when these, and again, this is why I don't like these fucking mountain Russians. They come into these they come into the UFC and they're not concerned with actually fighting. They're concerned with just winning via holding somebody down, and that's it. Fucking it is what it is, though. We're going to see if the next round goes any different. Sean needs to stay off the cage is his issue. He's known for walking forward, which is not very good to do against somebody like a Chimaev. But that first takedown, that led to that complete onslaught, that was off of the cage. Hamzat was able to drive him back towards the cage and then use that, because when you have your back to the cage, there's no way for you to sprawl. That's why wall wrestling has developed in the way that it is, because you need a way to defend takedowns that does not require you to kick your feet back and put your hips to the mat, All right, here we are. It's a jab from double jab cross. One of the jabs lands, another jab lands from what's his face, Strickland. This jab from Chimaev. Strickland's against the cage again. He's got to be careful. There's a check hook that does not land from Strickland. There's a jab to the body from Chimaev, followed by a kick that is checked by Strickland. This jab from Strickland. Jab from Chimaev to the body. Ooh, Strickland ducks under a left hook and then throws a right hook of his own, and I don't know if it landed or not. Strickland again getting close to that cage. He's got to be very careful. I don't want to see him get taken down again. Even if Strickland loses via knockout, I will accept that. I just don't want to see Strickland lose via fucking hugging. That's it. Ooh, there's a shot from Strickland that almost landed. There's a jab from Strickland that lands. Against the cage. Got to be careful. I'd like to see Strickland go to the body because Chimaev is smart. He's keeping that left hand up so that Strickland's not able to land a right hand on him, That's something he definitely learned from Gilbert Burns, because I remember Gilbert Burns, there's a cross that makes its way through. He definitely learned that from Gilbert Burns, because Gilbert Burns fucking threw an overhand that killed him one day. And we have, holy shit, okay. Not only did he defend, he also ended up in the top position. Sean Strickland. That is insane. That is crazy. That is wow. It was a mistake on Chimaev's end that Sean capitalized on. So that's really good on him. But these Dagestanis are not good off their backs, So it wouldn't surprise me if we see Sean take this round just working from the top. Good for him, See, we gotta, not only do we need to see control, we need to see some damage, though. I want to see Strickland damage him for real, Chimaev, feet on the hips. He's working from an open guard now, feet on the hips, or at least one of his feet on the hips. You see, it's like, what do you even do in this situation? Because it's like, I was going to say, like, regardless of what you do, you're in a situation where, like, this jab from Strickland. Ooh, there's a cross from Strickland. Oh, shit. There is another sprawl. Wow. We have never seen this before. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. Wow. Sorry, this is so unexpected, if I'm being honest with you. Strickland sprawled out on the takedown. Chimaev went to his back, and now Strickland is in not exactly side control, but just about side control. It's like, wow, okay. That's okay. Damn. Damn. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. I did not expect this. And I was going to say, like, it was weird because Hamzat went to his back and just kind of was there, just chilling, you know? Like, Joe Rogan just said Hamzat's accepting this. It's like, yeah, he kind of is, actually. That's very strange to see, you know? It's like, wow, you know? Fuck. Damn, that is... You can hear the crowd yelling USA, hell yeah. You see, Sean Strickland is not exactly my guy politically, right? There are things that we agree on, but he's not my guy. But whenever he wins, I'm always happy because I don't have to listen to the most annoying people in the world go like, your boy lost, chud. Your guy lost, chud, just like all MAGA guys do. Your guy lost. How you feel about that one, chud? And it's like, honestly, like, Strickland, not my guy. There are things Strickland would probably want to kick my ass for if I expressed those opinions to him. But like whenever he wins, I'm just like, fuck yeah. But yeah, Strickland doing a good job of keeping him down, right? He's also doing something interesting. You can see him trying to disrupt the breathing every now and again by going across there. It is really. I wonder if something happened with Chimaev. I got to be honest with you. Like, I mean, it's only round 2 of a 5-round fight here. Let's not pretend like Sean Strickland just won the fight or anything like that. But like, I almost wonder if something happened where like there was a takedown that happened where he like where there was like say like a takedown or something like that occurred, and like in that takedown or like in that whatever, maybe he I don't know, maybe he pulled something. Maybe there's an injury that we are not aware of, you know. I don't know, man, you know. I do know one thing, and it's that when you are so dominant that you have your way with pretty much anybody all the time, almost no matter what, you kind of develop this aura or this idea of yourself that you're going to go in there and you're absolutely going to kill whoever gets put in front of you. And when you have a moment where you don't kill somebody as quickly as you want to, sometimes you can kind of fade. We saw that with Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena, number 1. And like look at that. Like that was a level change, a shot that had actually some real like, and that's what I'm talking about. He just kind of went to his back, but that takedown had a little bit of gusto. It wasn't a half-hearted takedown. He tried to there's a jab cross up the middle that lands on Strickland. But yeah, that takedown attempt was not half-hearted. You know, he just didn't get what he wanted, and because of that, he went to his back. He flopped to his back. You know, that's not good for him. You know, for the first time in a while, it's not the first time ever, but for the first time in a while, you got to be fucking kidding me. For the first time in a while, he's talking about what's his face, the fucking guy. You know, Chimaev is looking a little bit human. You know, he's looking a little bit fucking human here. You know, I will say that his hands are kind of making me a little bit nervous, though. I will say, like, he's active with his hands. He's throwing some shots that look like they're well thought out. I don't love that. You know, it makes me a little bit nervous, but Sean is doing a good job so far of making sure he doesn't get hit by them, and he's making sure he's touching Chimaev a little bit. Like there, that was a nice stiff jab there, you know. Yo, thank you very much, Boomer22, for the 9.99. Thank you so much, man. Yes, I love you, Scott. You are for real dope as fuck. Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you and everybody who's here, you know. Thank you everybody who tunes in, you know. I've talked about it plenty of times, not to sit here and be Mr. Swan Song or anything like that, but you know, my star has been fading for a while, you know. I don't get the viewership I used to. I'm just thankful for it all. Thank you all so much. And thank you again, Boomer22, for the 9.99. Thank you so much, man. But we have Chimaev right now who's just kind of standing in front of Sean. Whatever he's throwing, he's kind of not landing, and Sean's landing on him pretty well, you know? He's throwing. Ooh, that was a nice overhand left that almost touched Sean up. You know, that might have hurt Sean if it landed properly. But, you know, Sean he's just got that jab that, ooh, and a cross right there. And then another jab. He's just got that jab that's just touching Chimaev up. And right now, Chimaev is losing this fight. You know, like it's not just the round that he's losing anymore. He lost that last round. He's losing this round. He's losing the fight as of right now, you know? You know, and like I don't want this to happen, but I wonder why he's not shooting in for the takedown. I think maybe he got stuffed and now he's like, ah, shit, I don't want to, you know? Sean's got to be careful, though. Sean's got to be fucking careful because the Dagestanis, you know, the mountain Russians, their highest percentage of succeeding in takedowns, their highest percentage of takedowns always takes place utilizing the cage as a buffer zone, as a place to really ooh, nice jab from Sean. As it's a place to utilize it as insurance, because even if they don't get the takedown, they get somebody up against the cage and then they can work against the cage, you know? So that makes me nervous. There was a nice jab from Chimaev, jab cross from Chimaev, misses. You know, Sean's just been landing his jab this entire time, and that's really good for him because one, he's winning on points, but then two, eventually one of those things is going to start to hurt. You know, you're going to see an eye start to swell, start to close up. There was a nice cross from Chimaev. You know, Sean, it is making me nervous. You know, Sean is getting walked down a little bit. He's used to walking dudes down, and he's doing a good job of not getting hit right now. But you're seeing certain things start to get closer and closer. There was a kick to the balls from Chimaev, and you're starting to see a little bit of discoloration on Sean's nose. He's actually, you know, you can see a little bit of blood on Sean's nose. But Sean is still landing more, he's still landing more consistently. You know, like just because there's blood on Sean's nose doesn't mean Chimaev is not, you know, like getting the worst of it right now. You know, it's just Sean got hit a certain way at a certain time. You know, that's really what that is. You know, they better not give this round to Chimaev just because of that. You know, Sean is making him miss. He might be moving back, but he's landing while he's moving backwards, and that is really good. You know, that is really good for sure. Uh-oh. Man, there's a teep. There's a teep from Sean. I think the teeps would definitely work well for him. I think the teeps need to work for him. You know, he needs to throw a teep or two. I know it's tough throwing kicks against somebody. You know, throwing kicks against somebody who is a takedown specialist, who is a grappler. It can be really, you know, it can, yeah, you know, it can be really nerve wracking, you know, but the way the fight's going right now, I mean, Chimaev is standing straight up. He's standing straight up like he's not even thinking about the takedown anymore. I do think maybe that could be part of some kind of strategy. Maybe they're just so confident in his ability to take down and control the fight and end it at whatever point. They were like, look, like if you don't get him in the first round, take the second and the third round off, and then in the championship rounds, you take him down and you really let him have it. Maybe that's part of what's going on here. But if Strickland can keep this up, he's going to beat Khamzat Chimaev Chimaev, you know? And like I said, I wouldn't even expect that. I didn't expect him to do as well as he did right now, you know? Hey, let's see, you know? Um, but yeah, you know, we're going to see here as we enter these championship rounds, like I said, you know. Chimaev is doing good with his hands, though, I will say. He's doing a lot better with his hands than you would expect, and that makes me a little bit nervous, you know. There's a jab from Chimaev as well as one from, what's-his-face, Strickland, you know. Oh, man. It's a jab from Strickland. There's a jab from Strickland. Looks like the jab from Chimaev didn't land. That left hook from Chimaev may have landed. There's jabs from Strickland followed by a cross. Jab to the body from Chimaev. Another jab to the body from Chimaev. Chimaev feels comfortable going to that jab to the body, and I think he needs, oh, yeah, there's a kick from Chimaev. I think Chimaev needs to go to that body a little bit more because Strickland's, not that I want him to win, but like, you know, if I was his coach, I'd say, hey, go to that body more, get him to lower his hands, and then go up to the top, like what basically just happened. You know, Chimaev went to the body for a little while, and then he went up over the top and almost landed on Strickland, you know. There's a jab. Again, like Strickland is landing more consistently. Chimaev is landing bigger shots, but he's not landing the big shots consistently, you know? And like, I like the output from Sean. I just don't like that it's all jabs. I don't like that he does seem to be letting Chimaev kind of march in on him like that. That makes me a little bit nervous. I don't think, like, the thing that sucks is that I could see the judges giving this fight to Chimaev. If the same shit kept happening this entire fight and there was no real development from Chimaev, I could see them giving the fight to Chimaev because MMA judges are fucking stupid, you know? You know, and you hear fucking Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier, who apparently don't know what they're talking about either. You know, like you see jab, 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 jab. Most of them are landing, and then you see Chimaev who's throwing overhands, and most of them are not landing. You know, like most of the shit that Chimaev's throwing is not landing. His best work has been to the body. That's Chimaev's best work, and he needs to keep going to the body if he wants to have any real success. But you're seeing Strickland just keep fucking popping him. He just keeps fucking touching him. You're even seeing discoloration. You're seeing a little bit of disfiguration on Chimaev's already disfigured face, you know? He might be making him a little prettier, you know? There was an overhand from Chimaev. It looked like it didn't land, but I thought I heard a sound. There was a hook from Chimaev that landed, you know? Hook from Sean that doesn't land. There's a jab from Sean that may not have landed. Again, like most of the shit that Chimaev is throwing is simply not landing. You know, there's a kick from Chimaev. That's another thing. If Chimaev wanted to win this, he would start throwing some more kicks to the legs, you know, because Sean is not checking kicks anymore. He's not using that teep, you know? Oh, there's a jab from Chimaev. A little bit over a minute left in this fight, a little bit over a minute 15, you know, not this fight, this round, you know. Again, like Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier, like they're sitting ringside and they don't know what the fuck they're looking at, you know? Like and again, like it just goes to show that like even people who have done this for years don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time. There is a takedown attempt from Chimaev that lands. You see, like, again, because people don't know what they're looking at, it wouldn't surprise me if they give Chimaev this round because of that. And this takedown so far has not yielded any real results for him. You know, he's just, oh, there's a knee to the butt. There's a knee to the butt. That's it. Knee to the behind, knee to the booty. That's all. We have Strickland trying to turn in. He looks like he's about to stand up potentially. Oh, no, he's not going to be able to because Chimaev is riding the Western right now. The Western is you know, that's like a, you know. See, Sean standing up, like that's even right now, Sean was able to get to his feet. That's brilliant. You know? Like even Chimaev's wrestling is not as strong as it looks, you know? Like right now, I have it 3 rounds to 1, Sean Strickland. And like that takedown, if Chimaev was able to do any real damage with it, I'd be like, okay, that's a little bit harder. That's a little bit harder to judge. But like to me, that was not enough. That was simply not enough. You know? It's yeah, that's great job, Nixick. Great job. You're a real Teddy Atlas over there. Look at his corner. Look at him. 5 fucking minutes. You're a boogeyman. You're a boogeyman. I listen to PKA clips to pass the workday, and it's cool to see you there multiple times. Hell yeah, you know I'm so thankful that those guys are willing to have me back. And Taylor said he's going to try and have me back on more often because I continue to improve every time I'm on there. I need to be a little more quick thinking on my feet. I need to be a little bit better at being able to communicate because when I get hit with a question that I don't really 100% expect, I tend to go you know, and there is the takedown from Chimaev. Strickland is up. Oh wow. Okay. I was literally making a tweet just to vent my frustration. I was gonna say if this round ends in a hug fest, they're gonna give it. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Sean Strickland almost takes down Chimaev. That is crazy. Anyway, if this fight ends in a fucking hug fest in this 5th round, they're gonna give it to Chimaev. I guarantee you. And that is going to be the biggest bullshit, you know? That's going to be #1 bullshit. Okay, so Strickland is out. He's got to keep Chimaev away. He's got to keep him at the end of his jab is what he needs, you know? That takedown shouldn't have counted for shit. You know, not only was there no damage done, but Chimaev didn't even really have control. He didn't really even get control. There's a nice jab. There's a cross from Strickland. There's a jab from Chimaev. Chimaev, I think, is good at keeping a poker face on. I think Chimaev is definitely tired, you know? And I think Strickland is going to dig deep. I'm hoping he does anyway. I'm hoping he does, you know? I'd like to see an uppercut from Strickland because Chimaev, anytime Strickland moves, he puts the guard high and he ducks his head forward, which is a smart move when someone's throwing jabs and crosses. But if you duck down like this and an uppercut comes in, you're going to get blasted in the chin or the nose, you know? I'd like to see a rear uppercut, especially you see Sean posting off of the high guard. He could post off the high guard and bang, you know? Again, like Sean landing more consistently. If he continues, there's a nice cross. If he continues landing like this and they give this to Chimaev, we got a little over halfway through this round. We have a little over half of this round left. If Sean can make this work to his advantage, if he can keep this up for this round, that takedown is not going to fucking matter. They should give him this fight. They should give him this fight. Rounds 2, 3, and I would give him 4. I would give him 4 because of the consistency. Because of the fucking consistency, I would give that round to him. If he can win this round, he should win this fight. And if they don't give him this fight, I say we riot. I say we go out and we start flipping trash cans. This is what we do. It's what we do, gentlemen. It's what we do. There's a kick. I don't know what kind of kick because I was talking shit, making jokes. Those were just jokes. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Jab. Ooh, there's a cross from Chimaev. Landed Landed clean. We have a little over a minute and a half left in this fight. Even if Chimaev scores a takedown, unless he's able to really make that takedown work to his advantage, I don't see this, you know. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? My totally legit stream just fucking paused on me. Okay. We have Chimaev with Sean against the ropes, against the thing. And he takes him down with just a minute left, but he is unable to keep him down. Again, unable to keep him down. We have Sean trying that same throw that he was going for again. That's pretty crazy. Wow. Strickland's out. He's got to get all the way out though. And if he can finish this fight on his feet, ooh, Chimaev hurt. Chimaev's hurt. A little under 30 seconds left in this fight, and they are both, you got to give it to them. They're both standing right in front of each other, you know, trying to nail each other. You know, you got to give it to both of them. I don't like Chimaev, but you know what? I'll hand it to him. He stood there and he tried his best. Win or lose, he stood there and he made it an interesting fight. So I'll give it to him this time. I don't think he did enough to win. I got to be honest with you. I don't think he did enough to win. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. Just joined. How's the fight looking, Daddy? Honestly, Murthic Giver, 91-45. It's I'm nervous because I think Sean won that fight and I did not expect him to. I had this weird feeling this week that the fight would be a weird one. It would be an interesting one. Like we would not exactly get everything we were expecting, but that was not enough for me to be like, I think Sean beats him. I think Sean wins. I did not expect Sean to do as well as he did. I got to be honest about it. But Sean did really well, and I think he did enough to win the fight because he was landing consistently through everything. And what's his face? Fucking Chimaev was not doing enough of what he needed to do. He took that first round. I would not give him any other rounds. If I had to give him one round other than the first round, I guess maybe round 4, maybe, I guess. But 2, 3, 5, definitely Sean. You cannot say it was not Sean. And if you do, then in my opinion, that just shows how rigged the UFC is. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and accuse people of being rigged. I'm not one of those, it's all fake type shit. But in my opinion, the way I see it, there is no real way that you can point to Khamzat Chimaev and say he did enough to take this. All of the takedowns he performed, he did not do any damage. There were no meaningful submission attempts, you know. It was a fucking nothing burger. It was a nothing burger, you know. I mean, significant strikes, 133 to Chimaev's 98. Takedowns landed 9 out of 13 for Chimaev, 0 out of 1 for Strickland. But the fact that he got so fucking close to landing that takedown on someone who is a world champion grappler, that is fucking insane. And it really is crazy. Like like this right here would put Sean Strickland in the Hall of Fame the way I see it. You know, if he gets this win, which he deserves. Like I said, I mean, look at fucking Chimaev's face. Look at Sean's face. You see a little bit of damage. Look at Chimaev's face. Fucking, somehow he looks uglier. And you can see where he was taking all those punches. You can see where he was taking all those jabs right here. Holy fucking shit. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. The power of racism wins again. Oh man, that's so good to see. That's so fucking good to see, bro. Honestly, you know, Chimaev taken it well too. Chimaev taken it well too. You gotta give it to him. You know, that was a great fight. That was a great fight from both of them. Like I said, I didn't think Chimaev did enough to win. I think the split decision was kind of fucking controversial in my opinion too. But Chimaev did really well. He did do really well considering that his weapons failed him in this fight. You know. Nah, you didn't, bro. Oh yeah, you can see his schnoz is like, whoa. My black fans. Strickland is an all timer. Oh yeah, for sure. Like that. Like that's Hall of Fame. This right here, Hall of Fame. He deserves the Hall of Fame. This is the moment. This is the moment right here. You know, man, beating Prime, Israel, and Hamzat is insane. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Man, good. Oh man, that's so great. That's so fucking great to see. Oh, excuse me. And I was saying too, like fucking I like when Strickland wins because I don't have to listen to the most annoying people you've ever seen talk about like Chud, you mad Chud, your boy lost Chud, Chuds always get beat up. That's right, Chud. I don't have to listen to that. It's great, and I don't have to listen to Muslims be like I don't have to listen to them do that shit. So that's fantastic. That's perfect. I love that shit. Fucking it was a great fight though. Like I don't like Hamzat Chimaev. I thought I recognized that guy for a second. I don't like Hamzat Chimaev. I think he's boring, but that fight right there was a great fight. Good for him. That was a grade a championship effort on his part. It's just he just didn't do enough. It happens, you know. So yeah, really really happy about that. Really happy about that. I turned off the stream. I heard Strickland's nose is messed up. Is that true? Yeah, it's pretty messed up. You can see it's fucking like whoa, it's blown up. But he won. He won. That's what matters. What's going on, Sid Beretta? I figured I might see you in here at some point. Both of the title fights were really good. They were honestly a couple of really good title fights. Your boy got what he deserved. Stupid Whitey. Oh yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, exactly. Like that. That's the shit. Fucking. What was I gonna say? Like. That's why. Not look. I'm gonna get a little religious here with you guys for a second. That's why I think Christianity is the true way, and Judaism and Islam are not. There is a cultural narcissism that is baked into Judaism and Islam, right? And they truly, truly believe that it is okay to do anything they want to anybody that is not one of them. Literally up to and including raping and killing. And these people, if you want to call them that, the Muslims in this case, right? No, I'm kidding. They're obviously people, and I wish they would embrace Christ. I wish they would embrace Christ. But these people, they see someone like Hamzat Chimaev or Arnold Allen's going to be fighting May 16th. He's a Sam Hyde fan, pretty open Sam Hyde fan. But excuse me. What was I gonna say? Yeah, these Muslims see somebody like a Hamzat Chimaev or almost said Israel Adesanya, Islam Makhachev or a Habib Nurmagomedov was his name, was the guy's name, and they take that as some kind of proof that God says they get to do harm to the infidels, that the infidels are subhuman, and that God doesn't love them. When the reality is these guys are steroid cheats. They are very, very selective about who they fight, and they're very, very careful to not actually fight when they're in the middle of a fight. All they do is they take somebody down and they hold them down, much like in the first round of this fight. Like I said, it was a great fight from Chimaev. You got to give that to him. But that first round, it really looked like it was going to be more of the same shit with the take them down, hold them down, don't actually go for anything legitimate, you know? So it's a situation where it's like, yo, the only reason you're winning is via cheating and gaming the rules, gaming the system. That's the only reason you're able to win. And you have all these fucking dickheads from like Saudi Arabia or like Dearborn, Michigan or some other fucking hole in the ground who try and say, oh, well, blah, 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 infidels die, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sick of that shit. That shit never should have entered into America in the first place, and that shit should have never been allowed in MMA. You know that? But there are things behind the scenes that happen, and that's part of the reason why I don't like the fight game anymore, is because it's extremely dirty and it goes to the highest bidder a lot of the time. And that's part of the reason why we see these cards in Saudi Arabia and Dubai or any other Muslim area where it's killers, Muslim killers versus non-Muslim fucking like taxi drivers and stuff like that, is because Dana really likes that Saudi oil money. He really enjoys getting money from those fucking oil barons. And those oil barons, well, they're happy to give it under the condition that Islam looks better than it actually is. And you see this which with a bunch of different things. They're starting to try and do it with boxing. The Saudi royal family, they're going into the boxing world, and guess what? You're starting to see all these Muslim fighters getting real easy opponents in those boxing promotions that the Saudis have money in. You're also seeing situations like there was this one guy, right? He's like a Viking weeaboo. He's big into Viking history and stuff like that, and he writes books about Vikings. I would assume both historical as well as fiction. And he was approached by somebody who had Saudi oil money, who said, "Hello, brother, we want to give you tons of money, but you have to write books talking about the Muslim Vikings." The Muslim Vikings. There were Muslim Vikings. Did you know that you need to write books talking about them, and we will give you $100,000. Like, that happened. This dude was like, no, you're lying. There were no Muslim Vikings. I would know if there were. You're just trying to get me to write something so that you can infiltrate my thing. Get out of my face. And he made a YouTube video about it. I remember I was watching that video on my way to work like maybe 6 months ago. I wish I could find it, you know? I'd show it to you guys. But like, that's what they're trying to do over in the Middle East. You know, they're trying to infiltrate different aspects of both sport as well as entertainment to try and paint Islam as not just benevolent, but also like the better choice. They're trying to make you stray from Christ in the name of their fucking goat fucker shit, you know? And I don't have problems with like a Muslim. I don't have problems with somebody being a Muslim. I would rather them be a Christian. I would rather them turn to the true church, the Catholic Church, right? But like, I can be friends with somebody who happens to be a Muslim, but don't start any of that fucking bullshit with me. Don't try and look down on me because I venerate the one true Lord, and don't fucking sit here and try and get me to be like, well, actually Islam is actually good. It's actually good. Islam is a good thing. They actually venerate Christ, just not the way we do. And in fact, like, Christ is barely existent in their theology. They never talk about him at all unless they're trying to convince us that we should be Muslims too, or that we should let them have whatever they want. That's the only time they venerate Christ, is when it's convenient for them. Fucking, that's what they want to happen. That's what they want to do. And they can eat the shit that comes out of my ass as opposed to the shit that comes out of my mouth. They can lay down on the ground. I can pop a squat with my pants down, balls dangling 2 inches from their face, and I can take a fat fucking shit in their open mouth. That I'm so fucking sick of seeing that shit online. If Islam made you stronger, they wouldn't need white people like Habib to make it look strong. They would be able to make it look strong on their own. Exactly. If Islam made you strong, there would be tons of Pakistani and Saudi and Emirati fucking fighters and footballers and baseball players and all these other people, but no, they all fucking suck. Because Islam is a shitty religion. I mean, I guess I'm talking about religion. I'll talk about this. Right? I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this, right? This is something that I realized about Islam versus Christianity and a lot of East versus West type of stuff, right? This is not true of all Eastern countries and Eastern philosophies, but a lot of Eastern philosophies, as well as Islam, if you want to call that an Eastern philosophy, they have a concept of might makes right. Therefore, if I'm strong enough to do something, I should do it, because that's the right thing to do, because God ordained me with that strength to be able to bully people who are lesser than me. And their idea of being lesser is just being weaker, being in a more vulnerable state. And that's why you see these people who they're unwilling to help anybody who's outside of their clan. They're also the types of people that if somebody gets hit by a car, they might fucking like check their pockets for wallets and shit like that. You see the same thing in Africa as well. It's not just an Eastern philosophy thing, but it's anywhere that was not touched by Christianity. Anywhere that was touched by Christianity, even a place like South America, which we know to be pretty lawless, it's there's really, really bad people down there. Don't get me wrong. But like, even South America as a whole is a little bit better than somewhere like Africa or like the Middle East or something like that when it comes to this kind of thing. In Christianity, we have an understanding of the concept of just because I can doesn't mean I shouldn't. And what takes real strength is to be able to deny myself that easy victory by not bullying the weaker or more vulnerable person. There is a strength through oh shit. I forget. Damn, I had a way of describing it that I used to sum it up in a few words, and I'm forgetting how I used to do that, and it's pissing me off now because this is something that I realized myself. I didn't need anybody else telling me about this. It's a revelation I had about it one day. Strength through, it's not discipline. Man, I know this isn't it. It's gonna bother me, but there is like a strength through power, fuck, man, damn it. It's pissing me off so much. It's pissing me off so much that I can't think of this. I'm gonna give it like another 5 seconds. It was strength through, and then something through strength. Morality. Yes. Christianity has the idea of strength through morality. Islam and other non-Christian religions and philosophies have a concept of morality through strength. Okay. What is moral is to use your strength to do harm to the person that you can do harm to. It's to bully the lesser person. That is what these Eastern philosophies believe a lot of the time. And that's why so many of these people, if you go to England, or if you go to like Dearborn, Michigan, or if you go anywhere in the world where you get some fucking dude who's like, fuck you, bloody, fuck you, bloody, fuck you, no, bloody, fuck you. You get some guy talking to you like that. If you smack him upside the head, they go from fuck you, bloody to, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Why you do this, man? How can he touch? How can he touch? Why you do this, man? That no good. That's no good, man. That is no good, man. Why you touch me? Why you slap me, man? Like they go from like big bad to like, oh, please do not hurt. Oh, why you touch? Why you touch? How can he touch? Like they go from that to that because in their mind, they think I'm stronger than this guy. Therefore, especially because God made me stronger than this guy, Allah made me stronger than this guy, or Vishnu, or fucking whoever, whatever demon, whatever fucking demon, you know. They think they're going to get one over on you, and they think you're going to be like, oh, sorry, sir, I don't want any trouble. But when you let them know, nah, you're not going to fuck with me like that, they realize, oh shit, I'm not stronger than this guy. This guy is not an easy person to get one over on. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Damn, that sucks, you know? Versus in America and Europe and other places that were touched by Christianity, you see that people would rather stand up to somebody that they think is stronger than them. Or at the very least, they would like to be able to go to that person and go, hey, that's not cool what you're doing. Stop that. You know? It's crazy when you really are able to like focus in on this and understand that it's correct. You start to understand the way that these people work, and it does a couple of things to you. For one thing, I will never be afraid of a fucking Muslim in my life because I know exactly what I'm staring at, you know? But like, we don't need to get that deep into the who do I think I could beat in a fight, you know? I'm just saying, like, when you understand these people for what they are, you realize, oh, okay, that's what that is. They're pussies. They're pussies trying to act tough. Okay, and that's what the Nurmagomedovs are. That's what Chimaev is to a certain degree. But honestly, I have a little bit more respect for Chimaev, even if I don't really love the hell out of him, partially because of that performance tonight. I'll give him that, right? But like, I also see somebody who is actually as good of a grappler as people say he is. So it's like, even though I fucking hate the guy, I'm like, no, he's got skills for real. He's got fucking skills for real, you know? But yeah, that's what that is. That's the types of dudes. That's the types of dudes that they are, you know? So it is what it is. But anyway, I'll read a couple of these. 100% Scott, he was repped by the UAE. This is Riyadh all over again, and fuck that shit. Exactly. Fuck it exactly, you know? Now we need Islam versus Topuria to put him out. That would be nice. I do think Topuria would put Islam into the ground, you know? And the thing is, like, Topuria is also a Georgian wrestler as well, you know? A Christian nation, by the way. Christian nation. So it's like, will the grappling play into that? Yeah, I don't know if Islam is going to be able to do that. You know, Muslim Vikings is the maybe most ahistorical thing I've ever heard. Exactly. You know, if Islam, I already read that. Paganism. Exactly. That's what Islam is paganism. You know, they circle around a giant black cube that has like a statue of Baal in it or something like that. You know. Same reason we don't have a champ or even contender from India. Exactly. You know, there's one Indian dude in the UFC that I know of right now. He's Canadian, but he is of Indian descent, and he is actually a Sam Hyde fan. He used to follow me on Instagram because I was affiliated with Sam, and then he fucking unfollowed me, so I unfollowed him. It's like, yo, dude, like, I've supported you. I liked your shit, and I was excited to see you in the UFC. I don't know what the unfollow was for. All right, bro. What, you made it into the UFC off a Contender Series, and now you're Hollywood or something. Is that what it is? Fuck, man. And then he lost his fight, which sucks. You know, he lost his first fight in the UFC. That's never a good thing, you know. But like I found that to be interesting. This is a guy who followed me for years, and I followed him back knowing that this is a guy who was not only like on his way to the UFC, but also like a Sam fan and a guy who's like semi-affiliated with him. So I was like, oh, I want to support that dude, you know? And it's like, oh, gee, you fucking unfollow me. All right, bro. Well, you know, it is what it is. The Scott curse. It's the Scott curse is what it is. He unfollows me and then he loses his fight. The Scott curse reigns supreme. No, but I hope he wins his next one. The rat garbage dude. For some reason, I'm having a hard time remembering his name. You know, all 15 of you here should follow him. And yeah, you know, there's that. Are you talking about Bjorn Bull Hansen? I watch those streams too. I don't know if that's who I'm talking about. I have no clue. God, I'm hyped. Didn't think Hamzat could lose. I knew he could lose. I just didn't think he would lose to Sean Strickland. Is who I thought. Who I did not think he would lose to. I am very surprised at that one, you know. Man. Man, but anyway, I do think I got to get out of here, all right? Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate the hell out of you, as you know. I am going to be off work this week, so I'm going to stream at least a couple of times during the week because I have nothing else to do. Because of the burnout I've been suffering through, I was like, fuck it, I'm taking a week off from everything. Usually I don't have time off. I don't have days off. My one day off is Sunday. You know, other than that, I'm doing a bunch of different shit for a bunch of different people. But I told everybody, hey, leave me alone for a week, you know? Oh, excuse me. But it's about time I head out, as I said. Thank you all for tuning in one more time. I will talk to you guys later. Till next time. Peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rocker laundry lynch. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rocker laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger ire on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Or you will get turned out. No, 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 no. Sock Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use.